Good evening. We'll call the January 25th, 2024 meeting to order. And roll call, please. Oh, nothing to report out of closed session. Roll call, please.
Would you like to do the flag salute first?
I guess. Amy's in charge, so we're going to do the flag salute first. Please stand and join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez Taft,
Here.
Councilmember Middleton,
Here.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Here.
Vice Mayor Karpinski Costa,
Present.
and Mayor Daniels.
Here. Next item, please.
This meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at citrusheights.net. Tonight's meeting replays on Tuesday, January 30th at 9 a.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at the city's YouTube channel.
Next item, please.
Next item is approval of agenda.
Move approval?
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Schaefer and seconded by Councilmember Middleton. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? It passes. Next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 4, recognition of outgoing mayor.
You get roasted. You get roasted.
Well, I don't have anything prepared, so we'll just get started. Over the past year, and for those of you that don't know, we rotate our mayor position here each year. A new person is chosen, and they serve as the mayor, and the mayor goes around and shakes hands and kisses babies and stuff like that, and does a lot of things. Over the past year, our esteemed council member Tim Schaefer was our mayor, and I have to say, it did an incredible job. It's really easy to be mayor if you're retired. If you work full-time and still have to get to places and do these things and do this and do that, it's very, very demanding. And that's what Tim faced, and he did a great job in the process. I'm extremely proud to have him had been our former mayor, and we were lucky to have him. And with that, any council members, any other council members? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Tim, for being just so dedicated, even with your very busy travel schedule for work. Being a first-year council member, you took me under your wing, you helped me understand all the processes and procedures, and were just a wonderful person to follow in the meetings and consult with when I needed questions asked. So thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. Any?
Yep, I'll go ahead. Tim, you did a really great job. Deeply appreciate all the ways that you went out of your way to make sure that you were in the community, present. I know how difficult it is. It was just outstanding job. Very well done, and I appreciate everything you did. And I know that you are probably just as excited as I was when it was over, right? You can go back to doing your regular job.
All right. Vice Mayor?
You do look better sitting in the middle than way over here on the end. But I want to thank Tim very much. He was probably, we all look to see, can we be a better mayor when it's our turn than he was? And that's going to be a tough act to follow, because when people write to city council and they complain about something or whatever, this is the guy that we rely on to be in charge of responding or notifying our city manager or staff. And so the mayor kind of gets the brunt of all the, and you did a great job deflecting it off the rest of us. And he's always somewhere. When we had to be somewhere, he was always there. And he has a full-time job, he has a wife, and he's got a family. And so it's I really respect and hope if it's ever my turn that I do as half good a job as you did.
Well, thank you.
All right, and again, I'll just echo what everybody said, that we greatly appreciate the job you did, Tim, and hope that you stay on the council, remain on the council, and get another round at it, because you're certainly deserving. Any words?
Yes, I just like to say to my council member colleagues, you made my job very much easier than it could have been. It could have been a lot tougher. I also want to thank the city manager for his support and at times guidance where I needed to be sort of dialed back a little bit, but nonetheless, it was really an honor. And it was a great year. Really enjoyed it. I feel like we accomplished a lot last year, and I look again. I am a little relieved, excuse me, that my term is up. And I happily pass the baton on to the current mayor, but look forward to great leadership from Brett as well.
And then, thank you. Then the final thing is, we're going to present Tim with this, this is red marble with gold all around it. No, I'm just kidding. But a very nice, this is a gavel and thing to pound it on, and so he's done a great job, deserves this, and it's with great pleasure that I present it to him.
Great.
All right, next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 5, presentation by Republic Services, poster contest winners.
All right.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor Daniels, esteemed city staff, and residents of Citrus Heights. My name is Ray Robinson. I'm the Municipal Supervisor for Republic Services, your exclusive hauling for trash, recycling, and organics. I'm here today to recognize the poster contest winners from 2023. Okay. This poster contest is hosted by Republic Services in partnership with the City of Citrus Heights, San Juan Unified School District, and Citrus Heights schools, teachers, and students. And we do have a few teachers in the audience today, so if you can raise your hand, that would be great. This poster contest for these students are for students that go to Citrus Heights schools or students living in Citrus Heights. And the grades are K through 8. So we have representation from the elementary, middle, and K through 8 schools. There are 8 participating schools this past year, with winners from 6 of those schools. Tonight, we'll be recognizing 12 student winners and 1 grand prize winner, including those 12. And that grand prize winner, that poster was posted in the customer service guide twice this past year. And we'll also be recognizing the school with the most participation for winners. The prompt was, how do you reduce food waste at home? So some of the other questions we asked are, do you eat your leftovers? Do you cook new foods with your leftovers? Do you compost at home? Do you put any of your food waste into the green cart? So we will begin calling down those students. We'll start with Lichen K through 8, and if I can invite the mayor to come down, I will name the student. Student will walk up this way. I'll hand the mayor the certificate for that student. We'll take a quick photo, and then if the student can head over to the side so we can gather all of them together once we're done, and take a group photo. All right, so from Lycan K through 8, we have Devin C. from the 7th grade.
That's adorable, that picture.
All right, next up is Alexiana S. She is not here with us today, but we will send her the certificate. Third up will be Sebastian S. from Lycan, 8th grade. Wonderful. Next school will be Cambridge Heights Elementary. We had 2 winners from that school. So first I'll call up Callie S. in the 3rd grade.
Can you smoosh it a little bit? The height differences.
There you go.
One more. There we go.
Wonderful. Next is Roxana, who is not here tonight, but we will also send her her certificate.
Ooh.
Mariposa Avenue Elementary, we have 2 winners from this school, starting with Vadim P. from 4th grade. All right. Next up, we have Alexa J. from the 3rd grade.
I couldn't do that.
Next school represented is Skycrest Elementary. We have Camila L. from the 3rd grade. Next, we have Lena D. from the 5th grade. Next school represented is the Woodside K through 8. We had 1 winner from that school, Georgie A. from the 6th grade.
Reduce, review, run. Perfect, thank you.
All right, next school, Grand Oaks Elementary, 2 winners. We had Anaya W. from the 5th grade. And this year's grand prize winner, Sebastian O. from the 5th grade. All right, and then the most participation this year for winners was from Lycan K through 8. All right, and I want to thank City of Citrus Heights, all the students, teachers, staff, for a great year, a great poster contest, and lovely art that is in our yearly calendar. And now I'll invite all the students to get together so we can have a group photo. If members of the city council can also either step down or step forward so we can take a picture, that would be great.
Smoosh in as much as you can. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. This microphone out of the way. One last one. Thank you.
All right, next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 6, a presentation by Firefighters Burn Institute on the Fill the Boot for Burns Boot Drive.
And as they're coming up, everybody that just participated in that last item, you're welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to leave if you need to. We won't be offended. We know we have little kids and they have to get to bed and stuff like that. So please stay if you like and feel welcome to go ahead and get on home if you need to. Sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members of the City Council. Thank you, members of city staff and the community at large. My name's Joe Pick. I'm the Executive Director of the Firefighters Burn Institute. This is Rachel Crowell. She's the Director of the Firefighters Burn Institute. And Battalion Chief Parker Wilborn, the PIO for Metro Fire. We're here to talk about our organization and what we're planning to do during the 4 days at the boot drive. So I'll get it started. Next screen, I get a clicker. Awesome. Make sure I'm ahead. There we go. 1972, there was an airplane crash into a Farrow's ice cream parlor. 23 people died that day, over 25 survived, but they survived with burn injuries. Sacramento had no burn care at that time. One firefighter vowed to make a difference. He formed the organization, the Firefighters Burn Institute, within 1 year, and within 1 year after that, UC Davis Burn Center, the Firefighters Burn Institute Regional Burn Center at UC Davis was established. Since then, Shriners has come to Sacramento, and they came to Sacramento specifically because of the burn unit that we have. The goal beyond that was not just to have a burn unit, but to provide for the aftercare of burn survivors in regards to research, for better improved care at the hospital and a big focus on the aftercare. One of the things we communicate to people that we are not just here for firefighters. Certainly when a firefighter gets burned, we are there for them. We're there for the community, the kids that are shiners, the adults that are at UC Davis, and really focus on the care when they come out of the hospital. Some of the programs that we do, Firefighters Kids Camp, we've been doing this for over 30 years. It's a week-long camp for burn survivors 7 to 17 years old. Little Heroes Family Burn Camp, a one-of-a-kind camp where we service burn survivors 1 to 6 years old and their entire family, where we recognize that this is a family trauma. It affected the siblings as well as the parents. We have Team Bright, which is a program to get kids that are actually in Shriners just for a day, outing for a day. We get local firefighters and we go out, we go bowling, we go ice skating. We give them an opportunity to come out of the hospital for the day. We have several adult programs, peer support, adult recovery retreats, young adult retreats. Our family burn relief is when we hear about somebody from our area that is in the burn unit, we support that family. We start out with a basic $100 gift card, put them in a hotel if they need, make sure that they know that their loved one is being supported by us supporting that family. Obviously, when a firefighter gets an injury, which happens frequently, we make sure that that firefighter gets the best care that he can get, his family is supported, and he or she can get back to what they love doing, which is being at the firehouse. Our Youth Fire Setter program, back in when I was a kid, it was a simple program of you went down to local firehouse and they talked to you about the risks of playing with matches. We have evolved extensively beyond that. We're pretty much the only game in town in regards to Northern California to have a full academy where we bring the whole family in and we address the issues of the risk of playing with fire. And it's a model that has been modeled in other states that have taken our examples and moved forward with it. We support the hospital as well. The reason why the hospital itself has our name on it is because we've provided over $2 million in the last 30 years to make sure that UC Davis is the finest burn unit in this country. We send the nurses to conferences. We do other safety programs. One of the things that we'll be doing at our boot drive is a safety fair, and Rachel will be talking about that. This is our kind of our benchmark of 50 years. In the last 50 years, we have not sat on our laurels. After we got the burn unit in there, after we got Shriners to come to Sacramento, we have done many other great programs, including, you see the one up there, 1994. That's when we started our first boot drive in Citrus Heights. And to talk about the boot drive specifically, I give you Rachel.
Hi there, thank you for letting us be here today. My name is Rachel, and I'm the director at the Firefighters Burn Institute, and I also oversee the Fill the Boot program. And I am also proud to be a longtime resident of the city of Citrus Heights. I have lived here my whole life, so near and dear to my heart. 30 years this year is the celebration of how many years we have been doing the boot drive here in the city of Citrus Heights. Before the city was even incorporated in 1997. So as you can see, 30 years, same location, Sunrise Boulevard in Greenback Lane in the city of Citrus Heights. This started before my time working with the Burn Institute, but the reason we chose this location, at the time, it was the busiest intersection in the county of Sacramento. So, of course, that's where we chose to do it, and the city has been a great partner ever since. We always host the boot drive in February. The reason we do that is we do it in conjunction with National Burn Awareness Week, and that is the first full week in February. So we host our boot drive this year. It will be the 8th through the 11th of February. A little bit of a history about the boot drive. We typically have about 200 firefighters and volunteers who come out and volunteer their time during the weekend. So the firefighters that you see out here are volunteering their own time. They're on their time off to come out and donate their time to the nonprofit. We have volunteers in the community who also come out. We have people help cook food. We have people doing safety presentations. So it really, really does take a community for the event. I definitely want to recognize some of the businesses in the city of Citrus Heights who partner with us for this event. As you can tell, for over 200 volunteers, we have to feed the volunteers that are there. We're there 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 4 days in a row. So these wonderful restaurants that you see on the screen and businesses, they donate food to feed our volunteers. They donate raffle prizes. So it really, the city and the community really comes together and supports this event. We also want to give back to the community as well. So we host a safety fair during the event, and the safety fair is always hosted on the Saturday. So it'll be Saturday, February 10th this year. We do send flyers out to all of the local elementary schools to promote the event. It's a free family event where the families can come out and they can meet firefighters, police officers. We have helicopter landings. We have vehicle extrication demonstrations. Kids can learn CPR. They can climb in a fire truck or a fire engine. It's all about safety. So everybody that is there is giving some sort of a safety message for the community. And the kids can go home with a bunch of swag and toys and a bag of goodies if they come out and participate. This year just kind of goes over the dates and times that we're going to be out at the intersection, 9 to 5:30, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then on Sunday, we end at noon. One other thing I did want to note for the boot drive. This is the largest source of income for the Firefighters Burn Institute. So all of the programs that Joe spoke about, this is how we raise money to support those programs, because all of our programs are free to the people who come to the programs. So at this intersection alone, in 4 days, on average, we raise about $190,000. And that's mainly in ones and fives. This community is so generous, and it does need to be noted, this is the largest satellite boot drive. We do satellite boot drives in other cities, Folsom, Elk Grove, have them all here, Lincoln, Roseville. Citrus Heights is the largest one and raises the most money for the Firefighters Burn Institute. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Parker, and if there's any questions.
Good evening. So Joe was very humble in his approach. This has been a very comprehensive PowerPoint for you. Joe actually retired with Metro Fire, so he is unique that he has the fire perspective, but has taken that out and continued his career path, helping not only firefighters, but also the community. I personally know of several firefighters that have actually been burned and utilized the Firefighter Burn Institute, and myself included. I actually had a burn on my hand. The Burn Institute helped me through that process. They also help the community. We see that. We just saw that during the Christmas holiday season when the Burn Institute scheduled folks to come out and sing Christmas carols to those folks that are still recovering. So firefighters went with them and did that. And that truly speaks to them. It speaks to the programs that we have and the community that we serve. It's built and ingrained in Metro Fire's core values and our mission statement to provide that service. We take our partnership with the Burn Institute very serious. And again, we've been partnered with them since Metro Fire's inception and even before that. So this week that we're going to be out there is truly an opportunity for our community to come out to learn some safety stuff. We're going to have our CERT, our Community Emergency Response Team out there. They're going to be teaching people hands-only CPR. So they're going to get those skill sets. They're going to learn about how to shut off their utilities during a power event or a storm event. So it's not just coming out and putting money in a boot. There truly is value that comes with those folks in the community coming out and partnering with us. It's an opportunity for us to see the kids and give them some education. It's an opportunity for us to teach the families how to educate their kids and have a home fire escape plan. So if they did have a fire, they would know what to do. So again, we just want to thank the Firefighters Burn Institute. We want to thank for their partnership. We want to thank you for hosting this valuable event. And we look forward to it. I hope all of you come out. I hope all the folks in the crowd and anybody online that's watching come out and participate, because it is so much fun. So Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. You know, I don't know how I could think of maybe another effort that's greater, honestly, and how it touches so many absolutely needy things. As an alleged fire setter when I was 3 or 4 years old, they said I did it. I still claim I'm innocent, but teaching kids about that, I think, is such a great idea, because we don't understand when we're 3 or 4 years old that you shouldn't get under the bed and play with matches. So I think that's wonderful that you guys have that as part of this effort too, the prevention side of things, and so kudos to that. And then the other thing is, if you can't get out to Sunrise and Greenback between those days, I'm sure you have it set up to where people who want it in their heart to still support can do that. So can you give us a little bit of information on that?
So there's a fire chief's challenge. So that's, and this
Yeah.
is, I have to go into this because, you know, we have Fire Chief Adam House, and he's looking to gain some support. So if you go to Metro Fire's Instagram page, we're going to continuously put that on our Instagram stories, a click link that goes directly to their website, so you can donate, and there's a designated box that you can put Fire Chief House in, so hopefully he could regain that title. This was last year we had a setback, and Cosumnes Fire Chief ended up winning, and we're gonna take that thing back. So, but again, I'll let them speak to it.
ffburn.org, that is our website, and there's a donate page.
ffburn.org. Thank you. All right. Anybody?
And with the flyers, one of the things that we do is the cars come by, is one, we give them a flyer so that they understand where this money is going to, and that it goes to the civilians in the community and not just firefighters. And then they also use it to wave, to go, I already caught you, last time. So that's one of the ways that we try to communicate who we are and what we're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Middleton.
Just on a personal note, I always appreciate this. During COVID, I actually got to go to a firehouse because my oldest son, unfortunately, had a small bathroom fire, playing with alcohol and candles, and we had to take him over to the station, and you guys gave him a great education on like fire safety and all that. I love this program because my youngest brother is a firefighter in Gardnerville, East Fork. We're trying to get him to come out to California because it's much better here. He can actually fight real fires, instead of changing, batteries and smoke detectors or whatever. But we really appreciate you guys coming out in the community, and every year I look forward to this and coming out and seeing you, watching the guys get up on the truck and get up in the little thing and stay up there and don't touch the ground. And I'm like, how do they go to the potty? I mean,
We don't ask questions.
Yes, right. Anything? No. Okay. Anybody? Councilmember Schaefer, go ahead.
No,
Oh, no, she has to go last.
I have to go last.
Last, I know that is. So, number one, I want to thank you very much for coming and presenting to us today. I hope that everyone, I wrote it down, Metro Fire Instagram page, everybody shares that with your friends and get the word out. And let's really raise some money for these folks. It's a really worthy cause. Thank you.
What time is the is it the Saturday event is when we're opening, the opening show?
For opening ceremonies, it is on Friday,
Friday?
8:30 a.m. And we
Last
will-
year it rained. Is it going to rain this year?
I hope not.
It's
I
not.
hope not. 8:30 a.m., we'll have pipes and drums out there, honor
Oh, okay.
guard. We do also have a media challenge that day, so all of the news, we have, all the news stations will be
cool.
out there, and they're doing a media challenge that day, which news station they send a firefighter out in the street and see which one can raise the most money, so all of the,
I'm really glad you guys came because, I get the boot every year. And I always wondered where all of the money goes. So, I mean, I'm sure other people think the same thing, and I'm glad to hear where it goes. Do you guys, are you just our group, or is it throughout California? How far do you stretch?
This boot drive is in this particular intersection. What we do is we partner with other fire departments up and down the state, as far up, almost to Reading, down in the Central Valley, and they, especially ones that have had an interaction with us, either by a firefighter.
And so they give their dollars to our Burn Institute?
Those go to ours too, and those happen throughout the year. But this is the one that really kind of set it off. It was the first one that we ever did 30 years ago, and then we had a lot of other smaller departments say, hey, we want to do one, in our town. And it's kind of grown from there.
Well, I survived 2 house fires. One was by my little brother. He probably was taking lessons from you.
I was innocent.
And so, I appreciate, I had an experience where when my house burned down, the firemen helped me rebuild it. I mean, I had no insurance, and they are so terrific firemen, and they give to the community. And I just want to say that even if you don't have any money to give, go to the safety fair and learn how to do some prevention. We used to have the certification classes at the local fire district, because we sat through that a couple times, and it is worthwhile to learn how to turn off your utilities in case of an emergency, and that's why they're here to help the community, and thank you so much.
Yep, thank you guys very much. Next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 7, a presentation by Sacramento Regional Family Justice Center.
Good evening. Well, thank you very much for having us this evening. First, my name is Daniel Iritani. I'm Development Director here at the Family Justice Center. I want to say a special thank you to you all for attending our gala last September. I think it is the first time in our gala's history that we've had an entire city council attend the event, and it is truly an incredible show of support for the work that we do. So kudos to you all for supporting and advocating on our behalf and for the victims that we serve. I just want to share that extra special thank you to you all. We really do appreciate it, and we recognize all that you do, so thank you. I'll introduce our CEO.
Hi, my name's Faith Whitmore. I'm the CEO, and I'm so grateful to be here. Are the fire guys still here? Thank you, thank you. I met Joe 40 years ago, and I'm not sure I've seen him since. So hi, Joe Pick. So we are here to help educate the community about all that we do at the Family Justice Center. We're a one-stop center for victims of domestic violence, elder abuse, human trafficking, sexual assault, and child abuse. By and large, most of the people who come to the Family Justice Center come looking for a restraining order, either for domestic violence or elder abuse. But we have lots of other things as well. Maybe we can just go to the next slide. These are some of the programs that we have. We want to say, first of all of our services are free. We're open 8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Everybody is welcome. Everybody is welcome, and it's walk-in services, so no appointments needed. People who are in a place of danger or trauma are welcome to come in, and we see it as our responsibility and our privilege to help move them to a place of safety and hope. So we do that by offering counseling, case management, crisis intervention. We do a lot of safety planning with everybody who comes in. We have a housing program specific to domestic violence survivors who need to move from where they've been into a safe place. We don't have a shelter, but collaboration is the name of the game at the Family Justice Center. So we collaborate with lots of other nonprofit agencies and community partners. We're very grateful to have a child therapy program because children are often, unfortunately, the collateral damage of domestic violence. So we have a counseling program. We have 3 therapists on staff right now, and we have a year-round program for some of the older kids, as well as a camp that we send kids to. They think it's just for fun, but we have another agenda, which is to lift them up, to give them hope, to provide for them some wonderful role models, to help them understand there's things that they can do like rock climbing and rappelling and kayaking and all sorts of things that maybe they've never had the experience of doing before. So we're grateful that we can offer that to them. We do a lot of training. I want to give a shout out to the Citrus Heights Police Department because they've been wonderful partners. They've brought many people, referred many people, and have supported the training that we do for law enforcement, for 911 dispatchers. We train a number of emergency room staff at the various hospitals in the region.
So we just do a whole lot of stuff. And we're grateful to be able to offer these services. We've been open since 2016, and sometimes we still think that we're one of the best-kept secrets in town. So we hope that none of you up there, or any of you here, or maybe anybody watching, we hope you never need to come in through our doors, but you may know somebody. So we're here just to get the word out about what we do, and so thank you for the opportunity. We won't take all your time, because we know you got a long agenda probably. But thank you so much, and happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Yeah, just let me say that, Faith, that this organization is incredible, but they are so graced to have you in the position that
Oh,
you
my
are.
gosh, thank you.
You do so much for this organization, and it isn't easy, and it's a lot of chainsaws that are getting juggled, and you do it very well.
I
So,
appreciate
good job.
that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
We are on your mailing list, and I appreciate that, because I get to keep a track of you guys. But I see this 56-hour domestic violence training program. I was kind of looking through your protocol for that, and it's very good, but I thought you ought to have a shorter one for elected officials and throughout the whole region.
You know what, we can, and we have talked about just doing some of the sections for various
And
audiences,
just so
so.
we know what's out there, if we run into our constituents that, haven't called for help yet, that they know you're there, but they know also what you offer them. And so
Right.
a lot of this is, what's the hidden homicide
The
project?
Hidden Homicide Project is something that is, that's, the Alliance for Justice is the umbrella organization for the family justice centers throughout the United States, also international. What we have discovered is that a number of alleged suicides, those persons who have committed suicide have actually been murdered by their partners or their spouses, and they've been covered up to look like a suicide. So this is not uncommon, and there is a special group, the Justice Project, that is looking into those, and actually Dateline's done 3 episodes based on some of the findings, and so it's tough, and it's, we have a local case, well, in the region, we have a case that we're working on right now where all evidence points to the fact that this woman was murdered and her husband made it look like a suicide. So we're just trying to uncover some of that to give some sense of peace to the families and also education and accountability.
And I know you're always looking for donations, and I did sign up and take the trust, the
Oh, thank
webinar
you.
on
Yeah,
trusts.
good.
And so he offered a free consultation. I never got around to it. I was just so swamped and busy, but.
But he's going
was
to do it
nice.
again, and I'm sure he'd honor if you find the time, yeah.
Yeah, and so I kind of, thank you so much. I just got introduced to you when you had your event, and so I'm just very excited about learning more about you.
Great, thank you. Anything else?
All right, yeah, go ahead, Tim.
So I very much enjoyed your gala. It's my first time going there, and I will say that, we have our political differences across the
Sure,
region.
sure.
But your cause is one that unites us all.
It is.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Very
welcome.
important.
It does cross every boundary that somebody might put up. Yeah, it affects all of us.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Would you mind if we took a photo?
Well,
I don't know.
no, yes.
The kids got to do it.
All right, next item, please.
Next item is public comment, and members of the public, if they wish to address the council during the meeting, please fill out a speaker identification sheet and give it to myself, the city clerk. When you're called upon to speak, step forward to the podium and state your name for the record. Normally, speakers are limited to 5 minutes each, with 30 minutes being allowed for all comments, and the mayor has the discretion to lengthen or shorten the allotted times. I do have one written comment to read at this point. I know you've received a couple for item 9, so we'll hold those till item 9. So I'll go ahead and read the written comment.
Okay, go ahead.
And it was received from Rick Hodgkins, and he states, I noticed that the Sunrise Tomorrow project has not been on the agenda recently. Nevertheless, I do want to point out that if the Sunrise Mall ever closes down, this would be one reason for me to leave Citrus Heights. If we must make them all an outside venue, it should either be like the Birdcage Walk Town Center across the street or maintain the interior of them all. But just like with the anchor tenants, Macy's, JCPenney's, etc., current and future tenants ought to be remodeled and renovated to where there is a way to enter the store from the inside of the mall or the outside, or better yet, both. My concern about making the mall an outdoor venue is that what if it is very rainy, windy, and cold? Where will people go to keep warm? This mall is just more than a shopping mall for eating and shopping. It is a place where once a year and even twice a year, I socialize with friends who are usually not there except for those 2 times a year. When Santa Claus is there, I visit with him, and when it's Easter, the Easter Bunny is there. And that the vast majority of the time I've seen the Easter Bunny there, it was always a woman dressed up as an Easter Bunny. If the mall went away, I don't know if I would ever see those lovely young people again. There are 2 girls named Diane. One played the Easter Bunny back in 1997. Another person named Diane did it back in 2007. I also want to send a shout out to Sharon Wells, or Will, who played the Easter Bunny during 2004, along with Marisol, Rachel, and one other woman whose name escapes me at the moment. But that when I first saw her back in 2013 dressed up as the Easter Bunny, she called herself Miss Bunny. A shout out to all those lovely old and young women who dressed up as Easter Bunnies, and also shout out to Brooklyn and Sandy, 2 women who dressed up as Easter Bunnies just last year. So those are all my favorite people who would probably go away if the mall disappeared. This would cause me to want to leave Citrus Heights, and at this point, I don't think I would be welcome anywhere else within the county of Sacramento. But I definitely will not live in Roseville because of their transportation system, which scares me to death. Thank you. So that concludes the written comments.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to go a little bit off script and say, is that Shirley? Come on up here. Come on up here. So this lovely lady, oh man. This lovely lady has made a big difference in my life for a long time ago, with my children and our schools, and I just want to publicly acknowledge you. And I'd like you to tell everybody some of the things you've been involved with during your life.
Well, I was PTA president at Grand Oaks School. I have 6 children, all went through Grand Oaks. I moved here to Citrus Heights in 1963, and my children went through Sylvan Middle School, and 3 of them went to Mesa Verde, and 3 went to Casa Roble. I served the president of the PTA Council for the San Juan District for several years. I was on the Budget Committee. Loved to serve, and Brett became PTA president at Grand Oaks. Watched you serve there and knew you would do well, Brett.
Thank you.
Thank you for those years that you served.
Thank you. Okay, next item.
Next item is comments by council members and regional board updates.
We'll start with Councilmember Middleton.
I'll keep it short. Nothing to report.
Make it rhyme. Councilmember Lopez Tap.
All right, we have had a few activities this past couple weeks. I am on the board of the Citrus Heights Chamber, and I do have an announcement. It was announced to us just a few short weeks ago that our executive director was moving on to another great position, and so we are now on the search for our next new wonderful executive director. So that's an announcement that had been made public on the 12th. On the 16th, I went to my neighborhood association Chasen's pizza party, and I love that they do both social things and business. And this was in an effort on a very rainy night to get to meet our neighbors in a casual setting. And we had lots of fun getting to know some new neighbors. And finally, today, I attended the SAC Library Board meeting, and one main thing of note is that we are doing a prom drive, and the details of the prom drive are, I highlighted it because it was so important to me. They are collecting gently used dresses, suits, shoes, accessories, and other formal wear at any library location during the rest of the month of January. So it was started January 2nd and will continue through the end of January. Distribution will be at the same libraries in March and April. And last year, they had over 800 teens being able to shop for items for their proms. You know, for those of us who've had our own children who've gone to proms and spent quite a bit of money you didn't think you were going to spend until a wedding. For sure, these items are much appreciated so that everyone gets to attend their prom and have that memory. So very excited about that. Everyone, men and women, dig through your closets and bring out your formal wear.
They take vintage.
Yeah, you know, I was just thinking about that because the styles of our teens are ever changing, and you know, vintage is the new cool. And so, you know, nothing's off limits. And that's my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Schaefer.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I was delighted to attend the SOAR potluck. I'm not a member of the SOAR neighborhood, but what a great group of people there were. We had our city manager, Ash Feeney, was a speaker there. The mayor was also there. Really enjoyable evening. Really, I was late, unfortunately. I've been sick for about a month. Tested COVID for COVID twice. Just was a bad cold that turned into bronchitis. So it was a really tough time. I had to miss the last council meeting because I couldn't even sit up. So that was really an enjoyable thing. I am a little, I'm going to bring this up, and I'm a little disturbed, and I want to be right up front and thank our city attorney. The Brown Act is really designed to make sure that public officials act in an open and honest measure and movements. And we had, back in 2010, the city of Bell did a lot of sort of seeing things in secret. They raised a lot of their public officials, their city manager's wage went to $800,000 a year. It was the definition of corruption. That was in 2008, or 2010. In 2008, Sacramento County, or Sacramento City Mayor, Darrell Steinberg was elected Senate Pro Tem. He was serving in the state legislature. He participated in bolstering the Brown Act to try to keep honesty and an open dialogue with the public on issues like this. And yet the city of Sacramento violated the Brown Act by holding a special meeting to give their city manager a raise. There's no excuse for that. And Darrell Steinberg said, oh, I'm really sorry, I really didn't know. No, he was in the middle of the Bell controversy. And I am just so disappointed. And I was recently asked, how do I feel about a joint powers authority with the city of Sacramento to deal with some of the homeless issues? I have zero interest in working with the city of Sacramento. This is a clear and violation of the Brown Act. And if they don't know that, they got a lot of more experience than all of us here. Yet we take the Brown Act very seriously. At least I'm confident the rest of my council members do as well. But I can't tell you how disappointed and how uninterested I am in working with the city of Sacramento on any kind of joint powers authority. So with that said, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Tim, very much. Vice Mayor Karpinski-Costa.
Well, I'm glad you went to the SOAR potluck, because I was not there. I was at a mosquito conference, because you know I love mosquitoes, in Monterey. And it's our annual conference of all the mosquito districts in California. And they are throughout, every county has a district or two counties together, like Sacramento and Yolo. And so it's where everybody shares what they're doing at their district and kind of gives ideas that, you know, our staff learns from them, they learn from our staff, and so it's been great. And so then the state public health department comes, and so gave all of the West Nile summary for the year, which is also available on the website. But I think my take home was malaria's coming. And so that's next on, you know, West Nile's here. We'll be reminding you to drain, you know, the extra water after this next rains, and then the warm weather's gonna come and the mosquitoes are gonna come. But the mosquitoes you're seeing now are Anopheles mosquitoes. They don't carry West Nile virus, but they do carry malaria. We have not had a malaria case in Sacramento area that got here. They usually get malaria somewhere else, come back home with it. So, but now that we have the mosquito, once we start having more malaria people come in from foreign countries that are, you know, carrying the parasites, it's likely that it will be a future concern. So with that, I went with city manager. We attended the park board meeting. We thought they were supposed to have it on the agenda, and they didn't. And then we misunderstood for when they put the amphitheater, the Kathy Cook Amphitheater at the park. And so it is now scheduled, and I encourage people to show up next month, because they are going to make final decisions next month at their next meeting, which is on the 21st of February. I invite my fellow council members to join me, because Ash is going to be out of town. And I know you're very passionate about this, so the 21st, it's on the agenda. Put it on your calendar. And I also, that was yesterday morning, I had the sewer board meeting, nothing happening there. We are now one sewer district, so when you're gonna get your bill, it's gonna look a little different, but it's still the same bill, it's not a different number at the bottom, but it's gonna look different to you, so if you have any questions, you call the district, they'll be happy to answer them. Phone number's probably on your bill. And then SOAR, you know, sells fireworks in front of Sprouts every year. And people say, what do you do with the money? What do you do with the money? I said, we help people in our city, whatever. Well, we were glad, Natalie and I, and our John Klunder, our other board member, bought a treadmill for one of the police dogs. And we were just thrilled to see him using it. And it's because he's so energetic. He needs to get a little more oomph and exercise, and I hope he enjoys his treadmill. And we were happy to purchase it for you. What else I did? I also went to, we went to the grand opening of Humley Beer. I didn't stay for a beer because I had to go, but that was nice. It's going to be a nice place, nice addition. He's got a nice corner there at Sylvan Corners. He's got 27 different Sacramento brews on tap, so that was good. I have jury duty next week, guys. That's bad. That's bad. Supposed to be one and done. I already did one. What else? I think that's it. Is it? I think that's it. Oh, Sue Frost is having her community meeting on the 5th. And so she'll have it right here at, this building, City Hall, that's it. 5:30, Sue Frost Community Meeting. So you can learn a lot what's going on in the county, set your complaints in order. I am there this time. Every time she has her meeting, she likes to invite one of us council members to come and update everybody on what's going on in the city. And so I'll be there this one. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Not too much to report back. Went to the SOAR, which is one of our neighborhood associations, potluck celebration. The president, Natalie, in the audience. It was a great event, fun time, and some good food. There's some people out there really know how to cook, and so I enjoyed a potluck there, and thank you for that good time. Went to the ribbon cutting, as the vice mayor mentioned, and we did stay for a beer. So good place. It's going to grow nicely. They're going to put another little restaurant right next door where Chando's was, and it'll all go together very nicely. So get yourself out there and have a beer if you like. And then, let me see, not too much more. On Monday, we kicked off Mondays with the mayor. Every Monday, I'm here from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you need something, want to talk, want to compliment us, or chew us out about something, come on down. And if you need another, yeah. Did anyone come? Yes. I think I had about 4 or 5 people. So it was good. It was very good. And they were all positive, thank goodness. So, but if you need another time, feel free to reach out to me or the staff, and we can set up another time if you need to meet. But I will be here on Mondays, 9 a.m. to 12, if you want to just come on down. And let me see, you mentioned the Sue Frost meeting. Again, that's a very good opportunity to come down and talk to the county supervisor. We are in the city, but we are definitely affected by the county supervisor and what they do. So please come on down and show some love. Sue is retiring this year and has done a lot of great things for Citrus Heights, incredibly great things for Citrus Heights. And we've been very blessed to have her in that position. And I think that's it. And the last thing I'm going to say is that if you're a high school kid and you're here as part of school, can you stand up? And then go ahead and come to the podium. Introduce yourself, tell us where you're from and why you're here. Come on up. You have to do this. This is part of your assignment. Your teachers don't tell you about this, but it really is part of the assignment. And they're going to be looking for it. Come on up. Come on now. Come on.
Your classmates have already done it, so it's your turn.
They've all done it.
All right, guys, come on now. So, okay, I won't force you. We won't force you, but we just want to recognize that you're here. Thank you for being here. And come back another day when you got a little more courage and introduce yourself to us, okay? All right, that's it from me. Next item, please.
Next item, we have consent calendar item 8.
This is a tough one.
No, I want to pull the item.
For those people out there that
I
don't
just have-
understand, what we're talking about is we have it's called a consent calendar, and it usually has a whole bunch of things on it. We just vote on it all at once because it's non-controversial. There's just
No, it's
one
not
item.
controversial. I just have a question. So when we publish the minutes, you know the sheet that was part of the agenda last time that had the appointments? And when you read the minute, it just summarizes that we made an appointment to a certain board, and it doesn't say the person's name who was appointed, because it was in the consent last time, it was automatically. So I'm just thinking that sheet ought to be part of the minutes, so that if people were looking up the minutes to see who at board was assigned, I'm just thinking you add that sheet to the
Yeah,
minutes.
we can definitely add that to the minutes.
Good idea.
Other than that, I'll move the item.
A second.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Karpinski-Kostin, seconded by Council Member Schaefer. Any questions or comments? No, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against?
I have to say,
All right, the item
Actually
passes.
wasn't here.
Next item, please.
You can vote.
Next item is regular calendar, item number 9. The subject is Animal Services Unit Update. The recommendation is this is an informational report and no action is required.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Alex Turcott, your Chief of Police. Tonight I'm joined by Police Services Manager Tiffany Campbell. We're here to give an update and overview of our current animal services model. Part of the purpose of tonight is not only to inform council and our public on what we're currently doing, but also, as we move through the community, we've gotten feedback, council's gotten feedback that there's some desire in the community to enhance some of the animal control services. So we wanted to, or animal services. So we wanted to have an opportunity for a discussion of where we are currently and a discussion on where we might go and look for some of that direction from council as well. So with that, I will give it over to Manager Campbell, and she'll give us a quick overview.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Good evening. As Chief Turcotte said, I am Tiffany Campbell. I'm the Police Services Manager, one of them, at the Citrus Heights Police Department. And before you tonight, I'm going to show you our Animal Services update. I just have a quick presentation. So thank you, Mayor, for the time, and Vice Mayor, I appreciate that, and members of the council. Our Animal Services unit, this overview will include such things as our daily operating hours and what we are providing overall through this presentation. Our daily operating hours in Animal Services is Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. And after hours and weekends, we do provide emergency services. Calls are triaged by our dispatch center when our community calls in, and then they make the determination on if it's an emergency, and they follow through with dispatching an animal services officer. And the industry standard for emergencies after hours or on weekends is injured or sick or any animal that is causing harm to the public or if there's a concern of public safety. Our staffing right now consists of one supervisor, one senior animal services officer, one full-time animal services officer, and one part-time. In addition, we have one program assistant. Here, I'd like you to meet your animal services team. Some of you are very familiar with Supervisor Deborah Miller. She supervises animal services as well as code enforcement and our rental housing team. Officer Ruben Hernandez is our senior animal services officer. And of course, we have Tony Fleener and Alexis Wager. They are also our animal services officer. And together, combined, they have 55 years of animal services experience. We're very, very lucky to have that in our community. You'll notice that we have a program assistant position that's vacant, and we're proud to say that position will be filled right around the Valentine's holiday. So we have selected someone who is coming in to assist us. Next, you will see this list is our field operations. And I present this to the council and the public as not intended as a full list, and certainly I won't read all of this, but I'd like to highlight and call your attention to a few of the items that do take the expertise of our current animal services time. And those are such as our animal cruelty or abuse or neglect investigations, or securing loose animals from pets to livestock, so everything from a pet to maybe a horse. We take care, of course, sick and injured pet transports and the resolution of the outcome of a sick pet. An example of that would be if an elderly person is not able to assist with their sick or injured pet, our animal services officer would provide that service back if need be to bring that pet. So it's a very compassionate group in which we're working with. And then, of course, in the unfortunate one where it does take an enormous amount of time and experience is the illegal kenneling, or otherwise known as too many animals, and animal hoarding. An example of that for council is something notated of a hoarding house where we had perhaps between 30 and 40 dogs in this past year in one residence. Or we've had a situation where we have upwards of 40 cats in one home as a hoarding situation. And prominently, you've heard from some of our community members where we have cat colonies, and one cat colony can consist of about 75 to 100 cats. And so that takes an enormous amount of time to assist with those things. So I like to highlight those, and of course, you can see all the others, and so can our community. In addition, I'm sharing with you our administrative operation. And this slide is presented to council and our community so that folks have an understanding with regard to the administrative needs of an animal services operation. So I'll call out just a few to highlight. With regard to the animal services main line, of course, that's 725 pets. It's important to understand that we need someone to monitor that phone line and accept those calls. I'll call your attention to the citation, reconciliation, and billing that's handled by the administrative team or a program assistant. as well as the health department reporting and invoicing. That is a required mandate. And of course, our administrative assistant would provide the officers field support that's required. And that could have something to do with like a chip, looking up chips in the field, or finding if we have contact with a particular person when there's a stray animal on a truck. Can we get that animal returned if we have that contact info? So they spend a majority of their time doing that. Before the council is our 2023 calls for service. This is a calendar year. This slide is intended to present to council the type of calls that our animal services is dealing with, anything from strays all the way down to the illegal kennel and hoarding. We present for you the number of calls. In this particular year of 2023, we had 3,022 calls. Next column, it shows the average estimated time that these particular calls take. And I use the average time because this assessment comes from our senior and our team of animal services officer with that combined 55 years of experience. So they're explaining that a particular one stray animal would take on average out of the 900 calls, 2 hours per stray. That's to do the research and whatever needs to get done in order to do the reunification before it has to go to an animal shelter. And that is always the number one goal. To the right of this slide, you would actually see the volume by percentage for these types of calls and what percentage of time it's taking. So 30% of our calls are strays. And those strays could be made up of hazards, loose, be on the lookouts, whatever the case may be. But there are, our data shows that there are 900 of those in this calendar year. You can also see the welfare checks, of course, and nuisance. But prominently before you, you can see that the calls for service, nearly half are focusing on these types of calls coming in, which are strays. Now, I want to point out that a stray could actually be someone's pet that just got out. And so there could be a reunification that happens more quickly, of course. But overall, to do this research, if they're chipped, and we do encourage pet chipping for sure, it gives us that proper data in order to make contact and do the return. But I'd like to just point that out. And if you did a quantitative adjustment of the average estimated time, and if we were to get all these calls in a day, and on some days we do, you can see that's 19 hours per workday in the field. Temporary animal placement is very important to us so that we can try to do that as locally as possible. Our animal services officers do make a concerted effort to reunite the owners with their pets prior to impounding at Placer County Animal Services. So before you can see that these are the organization and groups that we work with, because the circumstance isn't always that we can take a pet locally. And I show the council and the community that the organization and groups that we work with are our local kennels, are our animal sanctuaries, our Wildlife Care Association. We have many city and PD employees that assist with fostering pets. So that's a unique thing we have, and we're lucky to have that in our community. Of course, there's the veterinarian facilities. And I think what's really important to point out about each of these, before I even mention our community partners and advocates, I'd like to present to the council the information that our local kennels are for kenneling of healthy pets, and they do have a space limitation, if you will, if they have community members that are pay for service to the kennel to watch their pets, especially during holidays. So if you're going to go out of town, you're going to pay the kennel, and that's why there's a space limitation in that regard. And I think that's important to understand. The animal sanctuary is an example of an animal sanctuary providing fostering services. Before the council, recall, we had our rabbit situation, and we partnered with them and assisted them, and they did a terrific job with helping to accept fostering of rabbits. And through that partnership, we made a relationship, so they're willing to help, so that's awesome. Our Wild Care Association is for injured and sick and orphaned wildlife, but interesting to that is our animal services officers actually do the trapping, if they can, so that they can then collect that wildlife and take it to where it needs to go for care and service. Moving on, the veterinary hospitals inside the city of Citrus Heights provide an excellent resource for vet care for injured or sick, but they are not traditionally used as a kenneling location. And then last but not least, our community partners and our advocates. Those are our community members who assist with either donations of blankets or food or whatever we may need, or chips, or fostering and the recovery and placement of lost and found animals. Our sheltering services is next. And on the left side, we're showing you what the history is with our prior contracts of animal animal sheltering services. And we know that in 2015, the city discontinued sheltering services with Sac County. And then moving us current to the 2018 year, we moved on to SSPCA, and they terminated their contract with the city in October of 2018. So after the city researched other sheltering facilities, the police department determined that Placer County Animal Shelter was the most economical and the most efficient. And that sheltering contract was in place beginning in November of 2018. So we've partnered with them for quite some time. To the right, you will see what the intake is at Placer County. And this is for fiscal years over a 3-year period. We're showing you strays or owner surrendered. Return from adoption is low, you can see that. More importantly, we're showing you that the totals of animals going to the Citrus Heights Placer County Animal Shelter is around 500. And the average length of stay for a Citrus Heights animal is 28 days. So what that would mean is if we collect any animal known with an owner or not known with an owner, if not known with an owner, it would be either adopted out within 28 days is what the shelter provides, so that animal stay is 28 days long. And the same thing with if we were to take a animal to the Placer County shelter, by the time we make contact with an owner and whatnot and the reunification happens, the average is 28 days. Moving on to pet licensing. So the Citrus Heights Municipal Code 80-90 does require all cats and dogs older than 4 months to be licensed. The city utilizes a system called Pet Data. We contract with Pet Data to provide licensing services for the city. And this particular service frees up a significant amount of staff time. The license fees, as you can see, are listed on the left. Lifetime registration for a cat is listed as well. And we know that there was a community ask for proposed lifetime dog registration fees, and that fee will be presented at the February 22nd, 24 City Council meeting. So we're glad to report that. But with regard to Pet Data, the reason that system is working for the city is it is more efficient. It can be done online or through the mail, and our staff at the counter does assist when someone comes in to accept these, and we provide that service, as well as it ensures the rabies vaccination compliance is in place. And it allows us to search that database when I was referring to the animal services officers being out in the field. When this information is in, we can find contact information through this database as well in order to return those stray pets. It provides field identification for reunification, and it provides for community donations. And so you can see by having this, our community donated over $1,000 in the last fiscal year to the Animal Services Unit. Community outreach is important to our Animal Services Unit, and this is in line with 2 of our city strategic planning objectives, which is to preserve and enhance public safety and enhance community vibrancy and engagement. Our Animal Services Unit is committed to 1 rabbit adoption event. That came out as a result of our communication with the Rabbit Sanctuary. On April 14th through the 20th of 2024, Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week will be celebrated by our fabulous Animal Services team, and that will be a social media education. In May, you can expect a social media education for our National Chip Your Pet Month to bring education and awareness, as well as in August of 2024, we will have a National Check the Chip Day. And from that, we're hoping that folks will really generate the desire to chip all of their pets so we can get that data and information. In October of 2024, we'll move on to National Pet Wellness Month. And then in October of 2024, of course, we would like to do our second annual Chip Your Pet event at the Halloween Harvest Parade, or excuse me, festival. And that's it. Thank you. I'd be glad to take any questions.
We do have some speaker cards, but any questions or comments before we start there?
I have questions,
Yep.
but I'll wait till I have some speakers.
Okay, Tim, anything? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call up the speakers in no particular order. I'm going to start with Sandra Decker. Melissa, you want to go first? Okay.
I told them I would not ask anybody to speak if
Okay.
I wasn't going to speak myself.
Okay.
So how can I ask other rescuers?
So we'll call it Melissa Hayden, and go ahead.
So at the last council meeting, I spoke to you guys about getting a shelter. We all know, I've spoke to some of you, we've had a lot of talks, maybe about size, land, funding, all the things that are gonna take works. Now, this is something obviously that's not gonna be overnight. This is something in the works for probably 5-10 years. It's not gonna be as fast as we want it to. So I stepped back and was able to take on a second project with our Animal Services Department, Tiffany Campbell in particular, and Deborah Nathan. And we have been working to make changes within to see how we can help our community expand these services, expand what they can do. Right now, as she stated, we only have 2.5 officers with a 19-hour work week. Understand that half of those numbers on there were what Animal Services does. And we have rescuers here who have TNR'd, who have gone out in the field. Anybody who's followed me recently saw the dying dog I just rescued. It's still very emotional, excuse me. It was in critical condition. It was about 4:30 p.m. at night. It was raining, cold. I didn't know what to do. I contacted Animal Services. They were unavailable. No offense, not enough officers. They had 2 officers in the field working another case. Understand, I had a dying dog, so I was able to get a case number and rush it to Atlantic Street, where it unfortunately did not survive. But if we had more officers in our field, admin to take those calls, we can do so much more for our community, rescuing and helping other people, either whether it's an animal that's suffering on the side of the road and we can rush it somewhere faster, or getting somebody on the phone faster to see what we can do to move it along, move it along on the rescue so that they're not sitting there cold suffering on the street. I have some people behind me who will be speaking about our TNRs and what our city has done, our rescues have done to continue that. It is very imperative that we work harder on getting a designated officer to work TNR program, because we don't have a designated officer who can do that right now. And they would be able to take that time, because a TNR doesn't work overnight. Some trapping can take 3 days to get a small mama and kittens. As I spoke in my last meeting, also a rescuer here spent 3 days in 107-degree weather trapping a mama and 4 kittens. That is a lot of work, and if we're asking our Animal Services Department, we would need a designated officer to do that. And the 2.5 that we have, we need their boots on the ground. So that is something I would ask our city council members to consider, is getting more staff, more boots on the ground, and an admin who can do the data and calls to make this speed up for them to be able to go through each process faster. Okay,
All right.
that's it. Any questions?
No, thank you, Melissa. We do know that you have done some incredible work, and it's got to be emotional. It's got to be, and you've got down in the trenches, basically, and helped in tremendous ways, and it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you. And all of our rescuers who go out there and do the same thing. Some of the things we see aren't something normal people see on a normal day. I mean, it's not like we watch a dog get hit by a car every day, or a rabbit in the road every day, or a cat, These are things, our rescuers go out there, we pick them up. So I love that our numbers on the board were good and they're sufficient for our Animal Services Department. But we do, as a community, work harder. And there was actually one more topic I wanted to bring up is if you look at the numbers from 2020 and look at now, how many low-income housing units have we built in this city, bringing in more low-income people who may have animals or pets, may not be able to spay or neuter. The homeless that have come into our community also are not spaying and neutering, leaving more strays, more animals left behind for rescuers to come and pick up and clean the situation. Whether they're deceased or hit by or running down the road. And this is Animal Services comes out and does that as well for us, especially because most of them are not chipped, registered, or licensed. So that does make it very difficult. And I want you to think about those numbers. I want you to think about the pandemic where all the vets' offices were closed for a year. No spay and neuters, no help from the vets' offices to get the assistance we needed while the colonies just grew and grew and grew and grew, and the shelters were closed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next we'll call up Sandra Decker.
I want to thank Melissa for inviting me. My name is Sandra Decker. I am a volunteer cat trapper. I'm not affiliated with any rescue group, though there is some rescue groups in the gallery. I do trap, neuter, release of feral cats, and most of my work is in Citrus Heights and in North Highlands. I'm in Citrus Heights mostly because there's a rescue group that provides me a list of projects. One of the reasons I'm here tonight is to tell you that Citrus Heights has a feral cat problem. And if you didn't know about it, I will open your eyes very big tonight. One of the things I just noticed that Tiffany put up there is in fiscal year 22, they fixed like 4 cats. I did 187 by myself, okay? Last year, well over 150. And I do that every week, taking them back and forth to the SSPCA. To get appointments at the SSPCA, it's mostly a lottery system. I'm very fortunate that I have an excellent reputation. I am able to produce cats whenever I can get appointments, but I am only allotted 20 appointments a month. And I'm one of the people that get the most appointments. Some people only get 3 or 4. I get 20 appointments a month. And I want to share with you something that happened in the last couple weeks. I recently retired from 42 years of federal service, working for the federal government. And I've only been able to do this on the weekends. However, in the last few weeks, I've been able to do it during the week. A friend of mine, Michelle Lee, who probably puts more effort into saving cats than any human being alive, told me about a situation out on Linden Lime. And I went out there and I called her and I said, it's really bad. And she said, I know. So I talked to the deaf person who lives at the residence, obviously a hoarder. He screamed at me and took pictures of me. I love it. It's okay. We all get used to it. And you all know that, right? They all take pictures of us. So I went next door, and I had this woman's name, and they are trying to feed some of the cats because the deaf person is leaving. That house is in probate. He's leaving on the 10th of February. And you want to know how many cats he's leaving behind? At least 30, okay? Michelle took out 13 of the juveniles to try to get some of them, and I think 9 of them have been adopted. I took 7, and I didn't have enough spots to get them all fixed. So Michelle and I took 7 females that we pretty much knew were females and basically trapped them. I had to let a lot of cats go, and I never let cats go, but I don't have enough space to take that many cats. So we prioritized females. And of those 7 cats, 5 of them were pregnant, second stage, with about 6 fetuses apiece. So there you go. In a couple of weeks, that's how many cats would have been at that place. There are more females there. I'm going back out tomorrow. I'm going to try and get 7, 8, 9 females. Again, we're going to have to pick and choose. And the lady at the house was upset with me because she says the males have to be done, and the males do have to be done. But right now, we're sitting on a time bomb, and this guy's leaving. So the neighbors have a GoFundMe page. The neighbors have a GoFundMe page that they use to get enough money together to feed the cats. So there's about 30 at his residence, and they bleed over to the next door. And so I'm trapping it next door because he has his own property, he has his own issues. So I trap at their house. And now I've been told that there's a person at the end of the court, which is 2 more streets, 2 more houses up, and they have another 25 because she wants me to come out and start trapping for her. I don't have enough appointments, but we will try and see what cats are pregnant, and we'll try to take them right away to prevent them from having any more cats. But this is a problem, and this isn't just in Linden Lime. You have feral cats behind Costco that people are dumping. You have feral cats behind the Walmart on Auburn Boulevard. People are dumping. There's kittens run, and kitten season is here, and they're going to be everywhere. There's a mom and kittens right across the street here.
Go ahead.
Oh, that Michelle and her husband came in the middle of the night and tried to find, and they couldn't find them. So we still are looking for them. There are, I asked someone to give me a list of every place I had trapped, and there were 54 locations in the last 2 years, 54 locations of feral cats. Several of them, one of them was on Kennedy, Canady, it's not Kennedy, but Kennedy. That lady had about 25 or 30 cats. I set up a drop trap at her house, and I dropped as many as I could every week and took what I could. So what I'm looking for today is some help from all of you to provide TNR services, not just to me, because there are other trappers out here that need help getting these cats fixed. We're willing to do the work. We just have to have some place to take them. So when I heard that you had a contract with Placer County, I called Placer County and asked them what TNR services I could possibly get through Citrus Heights, and they said nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then she said, we're not going to do anything until the summer, till kitten season. Well, kitten season's already here because Michelle keeps plucking kittens from Linden Lime. So,
Sandra, the vice mayor has a question for you.
oh, I'm sorry.
And
I
then
have
we're
a
going to have to
question.
go to our next speaker.
Okay.
I have a question. When I was in veterinary school, we spayed all the cats from the shelter. So why aren't you contacting UC Davis and letting those gazillion students practice and their
They are at the SSPCA. There are like 15
No,
students.
but if you can't get appointments there and you schlep them down to Davis or have some, they sometimes bring their van up to the B Street for the homeless animals. They have a little Mercy.
We can check, I can check into that. Is that a free
They have a little
service?
Mercy clinic down, hey, it's training. We used to do it for free when I was at school. It's like, I don't know if they charge, but I even spayed a boy cat.
Right now, those students are volunteering at the SPCA.
But
and
they
fix-
rotate,
Yeah,
So
and they
whoever's
fix
there
all the
this
male
week is
cats.
there's another group, and they all want to learn how to spay, and they all don't know what they're doing, and so what's better to practice on a feral cat that you don't have to explain why your incision is that long instead of that long. So-
Yeah, I haven't heard anything that UC Davis would spay and neuter cats on any type of.
Maybe they haven't been asked.
Maybe. I've never.
They think they do bring students to, like I said, B Street, because they have a Mercy clinic where the homeless people can have animals treated. I believe that's true, and I don't know if they have a surgery outfit there, a sterile suite or not.
I don't know whether they have that right now or not.
You got to check. That's got to be.
Well,
that's gotta be an easy
at Front
phone
Street,
call.
you can't even get a cat fix you can take a feral cat in there and they're going to tell you it's going to be a big hold because they're using one contract vet.
Oh,
So, and the SSPCA for feral cats is doing 75 appointments every every Sunday, and then 10 per day, walk-ins.
UC Davis, 130 students in a class, your tax dollar at work.
Okay, thank you, Sandra.
Okay, any other questions?
No. Okay, I'm going to call up my good friend, Karen Behrman.
Okay, I'm going to read this because I'm not good at off the handle.
I was going to say, Karen, remember, now we're in public.
I'm sorry?
Remember, we're in public, okay?
Yes, that's why I'm going to read what I've written. Not a lot of times I get dressed up like this, so put a bra on and makeup. You
I'm
know,
honored.
you
I'm
guys
honored.
should be honored. Okay, a lot of what I'm going to address may project negative remarks, but it all has to do with building a stronger and cleaner city, which up until now has been left to a handful of concerned citizens who take care of our city's pets. All of this should have been thought of and planned for all of the 25 years that we've been a city, but alas, it has been neglected and left to those who truly care. It has been brought to the attention of individual council members and brought before the council in years past, always swept under the carpet because of money. Well, now that the city is collecting its own property taxes, it's time to address this issue and make it a reality. First and foremost, we as a city, or privately, if the city would prefer to stay out of it, need to establish our own 501c3 nonprofit. From there, much of what is required to successfully run a shelter with spay neuter can be donated. With TNR stray cats easily obtained by partnering with UC Davis Vet School under direct supervision of licensed vets. I've lived in the same house in Citrus Heights coming up on 34 years. In all that time, one litter of feral kittens was born on our block. Why? Because I would trap every cat in the neighborhood and get them spayed and neutered at my own expense. Unfortunately, with the passing of my husband, I am unable to continue with this expense out of my own pocket. But my efforts will, in the past, has a lasting consequence since no ferals have been born since. I worked many years with Maddie's Fund at their spay and neuter clinic in Oakland. Our teenagers were able to work at the clinics as well. It made for a bonding experience and helped teach empathy for homeless animals, something many teenagers these days don't have. Every position during the 150 to 200 spays per day was done by volunteers. Owned pet spay and neuter clinics, again, partnering with local vets or UC Davis, charge a small fee to cover the spay and neuter vaccines, microchips. All supplies can be donated. Get volunteers to work, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, required school volunteer hours, etc. There can be a dedicated call-in line for the public. They can leave vital information where volunteers can verify residency, then call back to schedule an appointment. Add more officers in the field to pick up found pets. Holding facility to drop off found pets until owners can pick up. Volunteers can do the intake paperwork under the supervision of Citrus Heights Police Department. Mandatory microchips for all resident pets. Mandatory spay and neuter for all owned pets. If a breeder wants to have a litter, then charge them a breeder fee per litter prior to breeding, maybe $10,000. That'll help. If no license is obtained, then mandatory forfeit of litter and parents. If owner wants pets back, mandatory spay-neuter at owner expense is required. Check any and all online sources for pets being offered for sale or free in our area. Make contact with seller and get information. Check for breeder license. Oopsies litters are unacceptable and require forfeiture of all pets on property. No second chances. Spay can be done on regular already pregnant dogs and cats. IRS and State of California is also very interested if breeder is claiming income from sale of animals on their taxes. This is serious business and lives are on the line. It's time Citrus Heights quits turning a blind eye to the realities of our pets. Pets don't only go missing or are found 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. We need more officers in the field and more office help. We are a city, and as such, we need to protect all of our four-legged friends. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, going to open it up to any questions or comments by council members? Anything? No?
You know I do.
Yeah, Tim, anything? Okay, go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I have a couple questions. So one question is, do we still have a federal trapper? Like if you have a raccoon that we, do we still work with the federal trapper to come out and trap the coons? How does our wildlife work?
Yeah, we have contract wildlife services for that, yeah.
Not the ones that rehab, the one that's out in McClellan, not them. They don't come and get, do they?
We do have a contract with Wildlife Services that we call, and they do come out. They come out
Skunks and all
as they
that?
can. Not necessarily for skunks. It would have to be injured or be a nuisance of some, because they can
Well,
roam
say you have a
free.
raccoon, yeah, because skunks are awful, but let's say you had a raccoon, and he was harassing your chickens.
Harassing is the issue, if it was a nuisance and
Okay,
causing a
so who
problem, then
comes
you
out
can
to-
call
these-
for
the
help.
old- It used to be, they came out and set a trap for the raccoon. Who does that now?
Maybe we can defer to our expert there if you would, she probably has them on speed dial. Tony, would you answer that?
Wildlife Services does come out.
Can you go to the microphone?
Wildlife Services does come out for nuisance wildlife only. They don't necessarily trap and remove. They may offer solutions for how to coexist with such wildlife.
No, we don't coexist when they're killing your.
Well,
So they don't really do anything. It used to be that the federal trapper came out, set a trap. We used to be free, then they started charging, now they don't exist?
we have 2 federal trappers for the county of Sacramento, divided by Highway 50. So we have one for our city and our half of Highway 50. There's another one for the other half. They are only answering the phones between 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. After that, the phones are off, and they take that hour and they plan their day. So nuisance trapping is mainly what their focus is, but they do offer, we have had calls at schools, so I've gone out with the trapper to the school to figure out solutions for that. Otherwise, there's private pest control or solutions for the nuisance wildlife
Okay,
as
so
well.
if I wanted to call, I'm a person, I wake up and I see I have a raccoon that I need to get out of my yard, okay? It has to go. And I don't want to kill it, I just want it gone. And so I would look on the city website, right, because I want to know, and I would call animal services, which usually you leave a message, right? Because there's no one there to take the call. So they call back the next day, the raccoon's not there. So I'm not sure we're getting the service in the timely fashion that we would want, or at least the information. If I knew I should call the federal trapper between 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning, then I would do that if I knew I had to do that. So somewhere there has to be that information. So I think that we need to provide the information.
We could absolutely update our website with what the federal trapper hours are and let our citizens know, and then also explain how the trappers set their schedule. Of course, we don't control their schedule, but we
Right.
understand they get.
But at least we do it to the
Yeah,
extent we can.
absolutely.
Did
That
we
would be-
square away this registration of microchips?
We did.
All right, so if I go home, I can finally get my dog registered?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll explain that to you. The website is on the first little blue card on the back. It's easy to miss, right there. And then the 2 other microchipping companies merged. I'd be happy to explain it to you.
So I have an old card, because it was.
No,
we-
you have a correct card, the blue one. It's
Yeah.
just hard, you just have to flip it over on the back, and it's small writing, and that's the website for your chip, right there on the blue card.
There was an old flyer that we need to update,
I
obviously.
got it at the Oktoberfest. Couldn't be that old. That was October.
The card's old. October
Card's
wasn't
old.
old. The card was old, for sure.
My next question is, how much do we pay Pet Data to do our licensing?
It's about $4.30 per license.
Per license? So no matter if it's a 1, 2, or 3 year, it's what, and they
No,
also
it
want
does-
to
it
know
does-
they charge $1.95 for a convenience fee.
It does matter which version it is. I think the $4 is the lowest version for the one-year license.
Okay, so that answers that question, and let me see if, I think that was it for my questions. Thank you so much.
So, regarding the hoarding, is there a maximum number of cats and dogs you can have in your home?
Officer Fleener did an excellent job with
I'll
that,
stay
so
here.
please, I know the answer, but please take it over.
Our city allows 4 cats and 4 dogs per residence.
Okay, so if your neighbor has more than 4 cats or 4 dogs, you can call the city and we will be involved in that situation. So because these stories that I hear, somebody having 30 cats and stuff like that, I just can't even imagine. But it would signal to me that that's not known, number one, or number two, nobody called. Nobody called when there was 5, nobody called when there was 10, nobody called when there was 20, now there's 30. And so that message, we can hopefully maybe reinforce that message too, that, that's the max, and if you know of somebody who has more than the max, sorry, not trying to be the bad guy, but call and we'll intervene in that situation.
Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
So I just want to clarify. So it's 4 cats and 4 dogs? So it's a total of 8 animals?
Correct.
Plus a turtle, a fish,
Got it, okay.
yeah. And then, any idea what it costs to chip an animal? Or a
I don't
child?
have the current fees in front of me, but we did just add the fees for microchipping to the fee schedule. I just don't have that with me.
Any idea approximately? Did you say? I'm sorry.
We chipped our dog, it was only like $60 or something, it wasn't very expensive.
The city is doing it for free at the events.
Yeah, that was thanks to a generous donor that we'll be thanking. But as far as the per cost, if we were going to do it commercially, we just don't have that number in front of us right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but we are looking to enhance that and continue to try to
Well,
provide.
we did some at the October event, and anybody who came didn't have to pay, so we look forward to doing that at future events.
Yeah, and we'd actually like to get to a point where we could do that more often during the year. We just need to ramp up that.
Maybe during Chip Recognition Month or week, whatever that was, but just do an event.
Well, I mean, logically, if an animal's chipped, it's hopefully going back to the owner a whole lot quicker. It hopefully does, because we can find out the chip here, right? We don't have to send the animal to,
We have chip readers in the field, animal control carries them, and even some of our patrol units have them.
and which then means that we're not taking an animal for placement, which means it's not there for 28 days, which means I would imagine we're paying for that animal to be there for 28 days.
Part of our contract, yes.
And so it would just seem to me that if we could also maybe explore some sort of reduced chipping, that
We have
it would.
reduced shipping,
But I mean like really reduced chipping.
really
like,
reduced,
well,
free.
For a month, I thought.
No.
It's free all the time?
For the last Halloween event, we were able to do free chipping. We're looking to continue to try to add those services as we can.
I have volunteered to pay for all the microchips in the city of Citrus Heights.
There you go. Boom.
You have
On
to tell them
record.
your slogan since you're talking.
That's right.
Chip, chip, hooray, that's right.
So that's something that, hopefully we can maybe move that forward then, because certainly, again, logically, it seems the more we chip, the more money we save on the other end, and certainly can recoup that then.
Yes.
No, you had a chance. Go ahead, Tim.
In-
So I was under the impression at one point that we did contract with Placer County SPCA on Atlantic. Is that not the case? We never done that? Have we explored that? What's the?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Because the Placer County services we're using is out off of Bell Road, right? It's kind of way out there. Not that,
I don't understand your question. I'm sorry about
She
Atlantic
missed the
Street.
first part of what you said.
okay, so where specifically, can you give me some idea in Placer County, where do we take the animals right now?
Auburn.
I know it's, is it the
The
Bell
animals
Road
go to
location
the-
off of Auburn? Up
Yes,
in Auburn?
the Placer County Shelter.
Okay. There is a Placer County SPCA on Atlantic Boulevard. Have we ever explored talking to them? There used to be anyway. I don't know if they're still there.
They have a brand-new building.
I think if you're speaking about the Placer County Animal Shelter, that one we have to go to Auburn. That's who we contract with.
Okay.
If you're talking about an Atlantic Street Pet Hospital
No.
here,
No, the
No.
SSPCA that's on, they just put a brand-new building off of the Corporation Yard.
We don't contract with them, but.
The Placer County SPCA, they do have the brand new facility. They still utilize their Corporation Yard Road as their intake. I believe they were one agency that we looked into prior to my coming here, so I have no idea. But I believe that their cost for service was greater than what we pay for Placer County currently.
Yeah, but when we calculate in the fact that we've got to take, well, that's a long drive out there, and we're tying up an officer to do that, maybe there's a cost balance of saying, hey, if I can get there in 10 minutes versus a half an hour, there might be a, that might be allow the officer some additional time to take calls.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's
So-
definitely something that we could look into. We obviously haven't vetted it in a while.
And I will say thank you for, I know if the animals are chipped, they will make every effort not to have to take it up there, and that they'll try to contact you if you answer your phone or whatever, if the chip information is current, and they can contact you and.
Correct. Something that's excellent about chipping your pet is you have the option to not remain anonymous, and you can give permission that if your pet is located, if someone with a chip reader calls, just a community member, and they're a sanctuary provider, they can actually give that information to the citizen and call you and say, we found your pet. And so the message absolutely, the call to action is to chip your pets and make sure your information is up to date, because then we'd be glad to give those back to you.
Yeah, another
And
thing
my dog has her name and phone number on it, and that has really helped get her home.
Another thing to add there, obviously, chipping your pet is the easiest and best way to get it back because collars come off and the
That's
like.
right, that's right.
But our animal control officers are pretty passionate about reunification, so it's not that if there's no chip, they just run them up to the shelter, and also for the reason of the time delay. The animal services trucks are purpose-built to be able to house animals at least during the day, and so if there's a chance to get them reunified, we'll keep them here locally. As long as the truck is not completely full, or as long as it's not dangerous for the animal, they'll keep it there, wait for somebody to hopefully call, do those type of things as well. Because the idea of lodging the animal takes extra, like you said, officer out of the field, but extra work up there. And our preference is, wherever possible, to just get them back to their owner and make sure that everything is done. So while chipping is the easiest and fastest way to do that, we don't solely rely on that and then try to take them up to Placer. We'll try to do what we can to do some due diligence back here at the station, or give some time for somebody to call and say they're missing their pet, so.
How do you find many cats are chipped?
I don't do any of it.
No, do when you're out there and
You don't find
picking up?
anything, right?
We know the feral cats aren't chipped, but if you pick up a stray cat and you check for a chip, is it likely they're chipped or not?
She said about 50-50.
I'm asking our staff.
She said about 50-50.
Oh, 50/50, okay.
Okay, so, a lot of good things. It's better today than it was before, and there's a lot of good ideas, it sounds like, that maybe how we can make it even better. And so, in a few weeks, we've got our strategic planning retreat coming up, and maybe we can push this into that and get some of these things solidified, take a look at some other facilities too, get the mayor or the vice mayor to sign a contract that she's gonna pay for everything.
Oh, I'm down.
And get it all gelled and bring it maybe to our strategic planning retreat and nail it down a little bit better. So, anything else at this point? Okay.
The
Next,
only one item to add, Mr. Mayor, is I think the strategic plan is definitely a good place. Right now, currently, we are trying to just look for local kennel space to add some of that due diligence so we can keep animals even longer here. The bed limitations are a problem, there's a little bit of a cost, but we are actively vetting through that just to use the resources we have now to the maximum. So that is.
and it would be nice if our public would step up because we do a sanctuary thing, right? Do we do that with the public too, where they hold on to the animal instead of the animal going up to?
They can foster, usually, the victims of that program are the city employees, but the animal service, not only are they passionate about pets, but they are good salespeople.
Yeah.
So they'll come by your cubicle with a very cute kitten or a dog and make you take it home forever. So we've all fallen for that one. But definitely community support and donations and fosters, and even as we walk through that with the strategic planning session, really trying to maximize that volunteer aspect. I know Director Huber talked about the volunteer portal. We have infrastructure in place to better equip volunteers with tasks, and so that's another facet that we're interested in for sure.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Good discussion. Next item, please.
The next item is regular calendar, item number 10. The subject is approval of Economic Development Support Fund grant request by the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce. The recommendation is to adopt a resolution approving a $17,010 economic development grant for the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce for the economic development, from the Economic Development Support Fund.
Good evening, Mayor,
Hold
council
on-
members.
Hold on there,
Oh,
Al. You
oh,
just hold
excuse
on,
me,
Albert.
sir.
First, let us hear.
I'm going
from-
to give it an intro, Al, and
Oh,
then I'll
thank you.
invite you up.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, Amy, go for it. Good evening, Mayor Daniels and members of City Council. I'm Megan Huber, Economic Development and Community Engagement Director for the city. This item is a request of our Economic Development Support Fund by the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce. The Economic Development Support Fund provides sponsorships and grants that promote the City of Citrus Heights commerce and increases business activity to achieve economic development goals. And the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce has submitted a request for $17,010. $10,000 of that amount is to participate in their annual Chairman's Circle sponsorship, and $7,010 is the annual cost to rent Citrus Heights Community Center facilities to host monthly chamber luncheons. The staff report provided detailed information on the itemized benefits as well as the holistic benefits of each of those items. The review process for our grant fund, staff reviews the application to make sure it's a match for program goals and our targeted areas, as well as measurable projected outcomes that we're leveraging the investment well. There's a sustainability element as well as public benefit. Staff's recommendation is to approve the request based on the grant program goals. And as a next step, we have a practice of bringing the requestee before council to dive deeper into the request and share more about the potential benefits. So I would like to introduce immediate past board chair, Al Gonzalez. And Al, I was planning on driving your PowerPoint, but I noticed that we have a clicker handy. So up to you what you'd like to do.
I'll use it. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff. Al Gonzalez, past board chair. I'm also representing our current chair, Dr. Gabrielle Razi. And let's start off with the first, there we go. 23-24, the chamber has been very successful in bringing sponsors to the city. I want to thank the vice mayor and the mayor because last week we had a ribbon cutting, and both of you were there for the Humley Beer House.
I didn't get any beer.
You didn't get a beer? I'll get you one. So many different businesses are joining the chamber. We have had very good results with the Ambassadors Committee, reaching out to businesses and making sure that we support anyone that would like to be a chamber member. Chamber programs. One program that has been very successful is the member video interview. A lot of the members really appreciate the opportunity to be interviewed and videotaped for 1 minute, and then we post that video onto the website. It gives them more exposure, more marketing. A lot of them don't have any resources for marketing, so we provide that vehicle for them. The ribbon cuttings are very popular, and again, the two of you were there last week, and that's generating a lot of favor from our membership. City partnerships. Of course, our past executive director met with Megan, and you two have been working together very well. The chamber has participated in Connect Citrus Heights, and of course, the state of the city. The Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce handled the welcoming reception. We've also partnered with the city council to bring back those very well-known and famous luncheons that so many of our membership really appreciate and like. And we're planning some new opportunities to bring more speakers to come to the chamber. 23, we had two major headlining events, the Installation and Community Awards, and we're now in development for our incoming 2024 Installation Award. The Best of Citrus Heights, that seems to be growing and becoming very popular with our membership. And because of that event, we're able to get new members as well. We've partnered with Sunrise Marketplace, the Brews and the Burbs. In May, the Fireside Chat with City Manager Ash Feeney was very popular. Police Chief, he is always a welcome sight because he's very informative and he's got a nice way about him. Elected officials reception here at the City Hall in August, that was very well received. The Pals Trunk or Treat event, they collected a lot of candy. They never gave me any, but that's okay. Participated in the city's tree lighting ceremony in December. That was a lot of fun. Oh, yes. This is something that we are truly enjoying, and the restaurants that are members of the chamber are also enjoying the added exposure and opportunity to be able to bring their food and showcase it during the lunch. And that's become very popular. And we want to continue with that because that's our way of supporting local businesses, local restaurants. Community involvement. The chamber is very active with Rotary of Citrus Heights. Our past executive director was very active with Heart. We've helped collect candies for Pals, of course, Trunk or Treat, the lighting ceremony. Oh, yes, and this big one, which is Sunday Fun Day. That's a favorite. And then we also employed an intern from Pride Industries, and that really worked out well for us, for the chamber. So with that, I would like to see if anyone has any questions.
Any questions? Yes, go ahead.
Please.
Used to be, in the old days, we did something called a business walk. And if you ever want to do it again, now that we have council districts, we could break into 5 groups, and every council member could walk the businesses with you guys in our districts and talk to the businesses, see how they're going, see what even the ones that aren't members, because we might recruit new members for you, just see how their businesses are, if we can help them in any way with, safety issues or whatever. Sometimes they feel they don't have a voice. So if you want to institute a business walk, I'll participate in my district. I go up Auburn Boulevard. You could pick a side. I'd take that.
I would love that. I really would. I see the benefit of that.
And we did that before. I thought it was very, very good.
Okay. I welcome that. Thank you.
Councilmember Lopez Tap.
Well, I'm obviously a fan. As a former business owner, I think, thinking about our economic development, the chamber is central to that. But not only because of what the chamber does for the businesses, the chamber is a network with other business chambers. And so it is bringing also the information that regulations from the state level, there's so many things that the chamber does that is largely hidden from non-business owners and regular residents of the city. And so I would love to see further support for the chamber.
Thank you. This year, the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce is going to be launching more advocacy programs because that's what's needed. We need to be more supportive of our businesses, and there are new businesses that are joining, and there are some that are interested in joining, but they've never dealt in the area of marketing, governmental, local licensing. They need all that help, and that's where the chamber comes in.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Thank you. I got a couple questions for you. So, how many members does the chamber have? Right?
At the moment, 312.
312. And how many new members do you have in the last, say, 12 months?
I would have to look into that and get back to you. I don't know exactly.
You think you're seeing a 20% growth, a 5% growth?
I would say 10% growth, but again, I don't have those numbers with me.
So right now you said 320?
Yeah, 312.
312?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, how's the chamber growth on Auburn Boulevard, since we don't have the Auburn Boulevard, Business Association any longer? Have you seen much growth on Auburn Boulevard? Are you including those businesses over that way, or?
I don't have the stats for that, but I will look into that because that's something we should consider.
Okay. So, and I'm not directing this towards you personally. I'm just going to ask the question. So, the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce has a political action committee, correct?
Yes,
And why is that?
to support the members that are running for office, local
Okay.
office.
So how many of the members on this board has the PAC ever supported?
Me,
I don't know.
Okay.
not me. Not him.
I'm going to make a comment to that just because I have the information. The chamber PAC and the chamber are very separate. And so the chamber membership is separate from the chamber PAC. So the PAC has its own governance and membership. So those are two separate, although they sound similar, they're very separate.
Yeah, but the PAC is using the credibility of the name of the Citrus Heights Chamber to convince voters that this is their influence. So they are connected.
Yes,
So it's
and
very difficult to say they're not connected, even though it said, well, and I kind of, the language was, well, we've suspended our relationship with the PAC. And so when we look at how's the PAC funded, there's this, why don't you explain to me how the PAC is funded?
Well, the PAC isn't funded anymore because we're looking at, they go their way, we go our way. There isn't sufficient support and interest on the board of directors to move forward with that at this time.
Okay. So I can tell you my personal experience
Yes.
with the PAC has been, they have not been, there have been times where they've completely denied me an opportunity to interview even. So, you know, it's really hard, especially lately, I had some questions that I directed towards one of the PAC members, and he basically told me it's none of my business. So now we have a situation where it's in front of me, there's still a connection, it's very difficult because the names are the same. The perception of the public is going to be that the Citrus Heights Chamber, that is you, are going to support a particular candidate when you may or may not be supporting that candidate.
I understand that, and moving
So
forward
that's
in
a
this year,
problem for me.
2024, we're no longer doing that.
Okay,
But they'll
so,
still call themselves the Chamber PAC, right?
That I don't know. They might not want to do that.
I was never
So,
supported by the B either, and that's good.
what's that?
I was never supported by the B.
So, question, Al, there's been some discussion earlier about the executive director stepping down and
Yes.
looking for a new executive director. I know you can't give me a specific date, but could you give me a timeline of when you think the new executive director may be chosen?
The Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors formed a committee to look into trying to, in the next 30 to 45 days, fill that seat. And so we're meeting diligently and trying to put together all that is needed in order to put that out for consideration for people to look for employment as an executive director.
And have you picked an interim yet?
No, sir.
Okay.
Do you work with Sac Metro Chamber?
I'm sorry?
Do you work with Sac Metro Chamber on a headhunting mission?
Well, that's something that we can consider, working with them. I'm an old
headhunt.
member of theirs from way back.
They may know people.
Yes, yes.
So there obviously is still not then a clear direction on the leadership of the chamber and where that's going to go and what that's going to be.
I want to reassure you of something. The Chamber of Commerce has leaders, and it's being led by Dr. Razi, who's our chair, and everyone on the board has stepped up because we're not going to let this chamber go down
Yeah,
at all.
I think you guys have a wonderful board. I really do.
Thank you. We do.
I try to attend the lunches every month and stay aware of that. And I think it's a very solid group on the board. And I have concerns, as Tim does, regarding the use of the word chamber and whether the PAC continues or not. That's up to them. But, you know, you can't call yourself the Sacramento River Cats and then the Sacramento River Cats Chamber or, or Sacramento River Cats PAC, kind of a thing. It would seem to me that you guys have, if not a legal, at least certainly an ownership interest in the word chamber. And so what I'm prepared to do tonight is support the use of our center for the lunches, and so that there's no cost there, and it saves the chamber some money. And then let me say this too, that I think everybody here supports the chamber. There's just no doubt in my mind that all 5 people up here support the chamber, the effort and what it does, and the need for it too, the definite
Yes.
need for it. If our businesses don't thrive, Citrus Heights doesn't thrive. We die. It's plain and simple. What I'm not ready to do tonight is support the $10,000, what do you call that? Donation fee, whatever request.
Chairman's Circle.
Oh, the Chairman's Circle,
Sponsorship, yeah.
yes.
I'm not prepared to do that tonight, and until we see, again, a chamber, executive director chosen, and then we get to sit down, maybe 2 of us at least, and sit down and have a discussion about the future.
Yes.
Because I want the funds that our taxpayers send into us spent in a way that reflects the desire of our taxpayers. And so that unknown factor right now, it just kind of times out in a certain way that it doesn't allow me to support that effort right now. But I'll support the use of our facilities and not having to pay for those.
I appreciate
That's my
that.
position.
I have a question.
Yes, go
Based
ahead.
on
Please.
your comment. What is the impact to your budget if, without having that $10,000 sponsorship?
Well, we're looking at the finances very closely right now, and I'm sure it'll have some impact, but the sooner we get an executive director in and then, change a lot of things that need to be changed because there were some deficits there overall, and then we can move forward. We can come back and address this particular issue.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I disagree with the mayor. I think that this is a budget item and that this money is in our pot now, and it may not be in the pot when you get your executive director. And so, because you run on probably a calendar year budget,
Yes.
and we run on a July to July budget. So, as Megan knows, we have just a limited amount in the pot, and then that pot goes, it's gone. So, you want to explain that?
Yes, that is accurate, Vice Mayor Karpinski-Costa. The community support pot funds all of the grant programs that the Economic Development and Community Engagement Department stewards. If I recall from the staff report, with rounding numbers, I believe inclusive of this request, there would be $2,000 to $3,000 left allocated to the Economic Development Support portion of the Community Support Fund, and there are no other current requests. That's not to say it can't change, to your point.
Well, I don't think our vote should reflect on whether or not they have a chamber person in charge today or next week or next month. And so, or whether they have an interim person. That's not what they're asking. We're not funding that position. We're funding the circle of whatever the circle thing. And we are beneficiaries of all their events. We're always invited. And so I don't think this is the time to count what he said. I disagree with him.
But that's why she's the vice mayor. Okay, desires of the council.
I move that we resolve to support the $17,010 economic development grant for the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce.
I'll second.
And I'll go ahead and make a substitute motion. Is that how we do it? Can we
Yes.
add that we take those 2 items separately and vote on the $7,000 request and then the $10,000 request.
I second that substitute motion.
So the substitute motion will be voted on first. If that passes, that is the motion that passes. If it fails, then the previous motion can be brought back forth.
Okay?
All he wants to do is separate the 2 items though, right? So
We're just separating the two.
we just separate the 2. That's fine.
Fair enough.
That's fine.
Just want to make sure we're clear.
Any questions or comments regarding the current motion?
Separate them.
Well, the current motion, I just want to make a comment that, that last year, I fully supported this move. I would say that my concern certainly is whether the chamber PAC still continues to be called the Citrus Heights Chamber PAC. And that's really my biggest concern, because again, the general public is not differentiating between the chamber PAC and the chamber.
Okay.
And so, so if you know, that's my reluctance here. Okay, so.
If I may, Councilmember Schaefer, I don't believe that the chamber has any jurisdiction over the chamber PAC, and so Al cannot cannot answer on their behalf because they are separate entities completely.
Correct.
But there's no common board members between the two?
No,
Is that what there
not
is?
anymore.
Not anymore. That's what I was getting at.
Seems like a lot has changed.
What's that?
Seems like a lot has
So
changed.
let me ask you this, tomorrow, if I go down and file a thing with the FPPC and create the Citrus Heights Chamber PAC, is the Citrus Heights Chamber going to be upset about that?
No, sir.
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. So that's our motion, I believe.
Okay.
Any other discussion on it? So we're going to take two motions, right? So the first motion is
Well, it's really
to,
three, because first we're going to separate them, then we're going to go for
yeah.
one, then we're going to go for the other, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
so the motion is to support or the $7,000 request for facilities use.
Correct, and just by somebody voting for this doesn't mean they can't vote for the $10,000 one at a subsequent motion,
Yes.
just so everyone's clear.
Okay, everybody clear on that?
I think so.
Okay, go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Councilmember Karpinski Costa?
Yes.
What are we voting on at this moment?
$7,000
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Lopez Taff?
Yes.
Councilmember Middleton?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes?
And Mayor Daniels.
Yes. And then the second motion is on the requested $10,000 sponsorship. Should we call it that? Is that okay? Okay. Any questions or comments on that? Roll call vote.
Councilmember Lopez Taff?
Yes.
Councilmember Middleton?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
No.
Vice Mayor Karpinski Costa?
Yes.
And Mayor Daniels.
No. Motion passes. You have your 10,000.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Al.
much.
Get to work.
Before I leave, I would like to extend an invitation to each and every one of you to please make an effort, a Herculean effort, to attend the chamber luncheons. We are going to be launching some new things this year. It's a new year. And I would like our membership to get to know the city council members. It's vitally important, because we're in the middle. We're the connection between them and you. And if you come and they come, they have an opportunity to get involved and be more active in the chamber. And I really believe that. Thank you.
Thank you, Al, very much.
Thank you, one and all. Good evening.
Next item, please.
Next item is item 11. The subject is intent to approve an amendment to the contract between the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights and the California Public Employees Retirement System. The recommendation is to adopt a resolution of intention to approve an amendment to the contract between the Board of Administration of CalPERS and the City of Citrus Heights, and to introduce for a first reading, read by title only, an ordinance authorizing an amendment to the contract between the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights and the Board of Administration of CalPERS.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Susan Telwer here, Administrative Services Director. As mentioned, we are here to present the amendment to the contract between the City of Citrus Heights and CalPERS. As you may recall, on September 28th, the council adopted the resolutions number 2023-88, which was the MOU with the CHPOA. So that's a memorandum of understanding with the Citrus Heights Police Officers Association. And also the resolution 2023-92, which was the agreement with unrepresented Class 6 safety members. So in that resolution, there was a component that basically was increasing the employee's portion of the contribution to the employer's share from 3% to 4%. So it was an additional 1% contribution. Since then, we have senior management analyst Megan Bushy, who has been working with CalPERS on the contract, and she will explain what the next steps are and what we're here today for.
Thank you. Good evening. So as Susan mentioned, the very first step of this process was the September 28th meeting to adopt the resolution to cost share. The second piece of the contract amendment process was us as the employer providing a cover letter to CalPERS, making the request.
Could you move the microphone closer to you? There you go.
Better?
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. So the second piece was the employer providing a cover letter to CalPERS requesting this change and indicating the exact percentage of the change, the total cost share percentage, and who it would apply to. And then, once we submitted that resolution with the cover letter to CalPERS, one of their analysts would reach out to us, which she did, and she established an anticipated schedule of agency actions for us. And it's based on the requirements of CalPERS, the timeline, and then we looked at our, council meeting calendars to come up with this timeline. So the first document we needed to do is tonight, the January 25th council meeting, to do the resolution of intention to amend the contract and the first reading of the ordinance. If this is adopted, then the second reading and adoption of the ordinance for the contract amendment would be at the February 22nd meeting. The stipulation for CalPERS is we can't do it sooner than 20 days from the initial first reading. So that's how it aligned with the February 22nd meeting. After that, we have to wait 30 days. So if it's adopted at the second reading, then we wait 30 days, and the effective date of the contract amendment would be March 23rd. And then the effective date for the affected members, the classic safety members, would be the first pay period following that adoption date, which would be March 24th. Once everything is approved and we send it to CalPERS and it's received, then the amendment is updated with the effective date in our MyCalPERS account, and we'll get a fully executed contract.
So with that, we'll take any questions or comments.
Oh, I'm sure there's lots. Any questions? Questions?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope, nope.
No questions. It was such a riveting, just, you guys did a good job. Okay, so we have a couple of motions that we need to do.
I'd like to make a motion, please.
Okay,
Adopt Resolution 2024, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights of California, adopting a resolution of the intention to approve an amendment contract between the Board of Administration of the California Public Employees Retirement System and the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights.
Second.
it's been moved by Councilmember Schaefer and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Taft. Any questions or comments to the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Passes. Next item.
I'd like to make a motion, introduce the first reading, read by title only, and waive the full reading of ordinance number 2024, and ordinance of the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights authorizing an amendment, excuse me, to the contract between the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights and the Board of Administration of the California Public Employees Retirement System.
Second.
Thank you.
It's been moved by Councilmember Schaefer and seconded by Councilmember Middleton. Any questions or comments about the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None. Passes.
Thank you.
All right, next item, please.
Next item is Department Report Number 12. The subject is develop and present a plan to City Council to provide crime detection and prevention technology in commercial areas.
Good evening again, Mayor, members of council, Alex Turcotte, your Chief of Police. With me tonight is Lieutenant Wes Herman, and we'll be discussing the affected item. Just as a preamble to this, this was born out of an evolution from our original focused area work plan while we were looking at how to maximize resources and efficiency within the city. We talked about leveraging technologies. The original idea was to bring kind of a library of things concept where we'd have some mobile technology to be able to depart out into areas that needed that for crime prevention. As we really crunched into that, what we ended up looking at was actually an overall overlay and infrastructure to really add available technologies that are on the market to even go on a broader scope and not just on a one-off based on a CPTED, but really add infrastructure to a lot of our commercial corridors at large. Much of that came into our organized retail theft grant that Lieutenant Herman presented to the group a couple months ago, and we're looking to implement that. But today, just to blend those up and to finish up the action item from our strategic plan, Lieutenant Herman's going to give you kind of the overall look at where we're leveraging that technology to really help in those commercial areas. So with that, I'll give it to Lieutenant Herman, and we'll give an overview.
Thank you, Chief. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Vice Mayor, distinguished members of council, Lieutenant Wesley Herman with your Citrus Heights Police Department and your investigation services. I wanted to just provide a quick update for you from the strategic plan objective to preserve and enhance public safety, to provide crime detection and prevention technology in the commercial corridors, as the chief mentioned. We understand obviously the significance of the commercial businesses, as you've heard here this evening. It's clearly the economic engine for our city, and it's vitally important that we protect that asset for the future of our city. So we're planning to do that with several different strategies listed there, which includes technology and equipment. We have some staffing supplements, and then we'll utilize several collaborative partnerships, both within the city and within the region. And then I'll briefly touch on a timeline. So focusing your attention on technology and equipment, you'll see a number of different items listed there. Some of these are existing and some of these are forthcoming. We have the automated license plate reader cameras that we're currently working on in our major arterial corridors throughout the city. Some of those intersections will include real-time camera platforms. We have some anti-loitering devices. You may have heard those referred to as mosquito devices, designed to prevent or deter individuals from unnecessary loitering in certain areas. We're currently working on a live 911 software enhancement upgrade, which will provide our patrol officers a faster response time in situations where crimes are in progress. They'll be able to hear those calls coming in live as the dispatcher takes them, and oftentimes be able to respond out to that scene maybe before it even gets dispatched audibly on the police radio system. We have a mobile camera platform that we're looking at, which will allow us to utilize a mobile asset to put in either areas that are experiencing high crime, or perhaps as we're doing some of these different projects throughout the city, including roadway projects and things like that. We have contractors coming into our city. We want to be able to help protect their assets as they store them overnight on their sites. Those will also include some enhanced mobile lighting options, and I'll show you a photo of those here in a moment. We utilize vehicle and property tracker platforms, and without going into a tremendous amount of detail, for obvious reasons, that does allow us to be able to lawfully track known stolen vehicles or potentially theft-related incidents. And then finally, we're looking at several different software solutions to enhance our regional collaboration through data consolidation. With regards to staffing supplements, we're currently working on a real-time information center operator. That individual is utilized in our partnership with Elk Grove PD in the real-time information center, and aids both in operations and investigative needs. We also utilize part-time detectives, one of which would be a retail theft detective that will work for our impact unit. That will be grant funded. And those additional staffing supplements are able to help our existing team to keep up with the current workload that's coming through our doors. And finally, with the vertical prosecutor, although this is not somebody who's on our staff, and this is funded by the Sacramento County District Attorney's Office, we're working very closely with them in partnership. And really the goal here is to further enhance the accountability for repeat offenders in our community. I mentioned the collaborative partnerships. They're all listed there. A couple that I'll highlight, obviously the Sacramento County District Attorney's Office, as I just mentioned. They do have this designated vertical prosecutor program. We have met with their DA, and we are looking at additional ways we can collaborate with them She's taken a very proactive approach in trying to ensure that the crime that is being committed is making it through their filing platform at the county level, and that these individuals who are repeatedly going out and stealing from the businesses within our community are going to be held accountable. Additionally, the Citrus Heights business community has been fantastic. We're also partnering with the Chamber, who was here this evening as well. And so there's just a number of different partners throughout both the city and the region, including allied law enforcement agencies that we're working with on this overall collaborative approach to deterring and preventing and solving crime. Lastly, I'll just call your attention to the timeline. So we've kind of broken this into 3 phases. The first phase there being to identify these different solutions and develop protocols on how we're going to utilize this equipment. The second would be the actual infrastructure setup for any hardware that needs to be installed within the community. And then the final phase there would be to evaluate and make any necessary adjustments. As you can see in Q1, we've already purchased the anti-loitering devices, and we're awaiting installation on one of those. We have some electronic crime tracking devices, but we'll be acquiring a few more of those. And then we have the operator at the Arctic already identified, and we've had somebody actually in that capacity here for a little while now. In Q2, you'll see that we're hoping to have some additional part-time detectives on board, 2 to 3 of those folks. And then in Q3, you'll see the fixed camera platform should be in place. And we're hoping that the mobile camera platforms and the lighting platforms are in place then as well. And with that, I'll take any questions unless I miss anything, Chief.
No, I'd just like to add, this has been a phenomenal lift, and actually Lieutenant Herman has really taken this on as a passion, dove into regional, state, all types of different areas to really vet through some of the technology and really do the collaborative partnership. The partnership with Elk Grove is a really nice model for the region that's going to be replicated by our allied partners. That really was a brainchild of Lieutenant Herman's. But also to draw your attention to the part-time detective, that's a unique new position kind of in our industry, where usually, you have reserve officers and things like that, but to bring an experienced detective and have them come in and just help out on our services was really actually an innovation that came out of this work, and it's really reaped the benefits already. We enjoy that all with the supplement of trying to get our staffing back up and hiring. These part-time detectives have come in and really made a difference getting prosecution on some of our repeat offenders or some of our more heinous activities already. So just kudos for Lieutenant Herman with those plans.
Thank you. Questions or comments over here? Go ahead, Jane.
I just want to thank our police department for being innovative, getting these grants, making a plan to protect our businesses, and really, we want to say loud and clear that criminals are not welcome here. And you are making a tremendous effort to support our business owners, and I hope this in turn creates that safety perception in the city that we want to protect businesses here in Citrus Heights. So thank you, really appreciate that.
I just would like to echo Councilmember Jane Taft's comments there. I think that this is really a great step in the right direction. So thank you very much for that.
I have 2 questions. Of course, I can echo, but I just have questions first. What is an anti-loitering device? Do you have a picture of one?
We
or
felt
can you
that the
describe it?
name would really grab your attention in that it's a mosquito.
I know,
This is an interesting bit of technology. So it's an audio device that actually emits a non-audible frequency that is uncomfortable to hang around. So
Audibles, you mean like a buzz?
so not to demean the
Well, it sounds like a
existence here, but
mosquito.
like you do with sonic pest repellent, this is more tuned for humans to where it doesn't hurt anything, but it just makes it uncomfortable to hang around. And so it has been helpful in just deterring your casual loitering and
I
that.
thought that's what they use classical music for.
That is one of the first awards was, I think, convenience stores that were playing classical music that auditorily affected some of the juvenile delinquents back in the, I think that was almost 2 decades ago. So this is the evolution of that into.
And then I know when Natalie had homeless people sleeping against her building, is that I saw some things where you can actually put on the ground that prevent them from getting up against the building, so that, you know, they could sit 6 feet away, but not with their backs to the building, so.
There's a lot of technology and interest in environmental design. I mean, just right out here on campus, you can see some of the little pieces that are built into the benches prevent, you know, skateboarders from damaging it or from folks lettering. There's been a lot of that, and even our sound walls that General Services is a part of, you know, the bumpy rock isn't just aesthetically pleasing, it's to prevent graffiti and the like.
So I hope
it's
you
taking
share
those
those with the
ideas.
businesses so they know those things are out there, because.
Absolutely, that's one of the
Yeah.
primary functions with our proactive CPTED, which is the crime prevention through environmental design, is we'll actually go out and do a visit for buildings that have some of those issues, offer some of those advices. On the front end, when we have plan review, we can make some of those assessments, which is actually the easiest thing to do is when you're first building the building, is to build it correctly in the first place. But then there's also some low-tech things like landscape, like for instance, Rush Park, you know, we saw a good partnership with Sunrise Parks, just bringing the tree canopy up and then putting a little bit of fencing over there by the Shell station dramatically improved some of the loitering that they had over there. And that corner's been much better since then. So this is the technological, there it is, technological application to that evolution of crime prevention. And really, you know, we're constantly looking for ways to leverage that because, you know, these devices can be there the entire time and then alert the officers and really prevent staff from having to be stuck to a fixed location like we used to have to.
When you install an anti-loitering device, you let me know, I'd like to go see it, or hear it, or whatever.
There are some already installed in the Sunrise Marketplace. We did that with partnership with the Sunrise Marketplace. So some are active right now. We haven't
What part?
had
I want to see.
what's that?
Actually, if you go to the Chevron station at Greenback and Auburn,
Chevron Greenback.
pull into their parking lot.
Okay.
You won't miss it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to try that. My second question is, and this part is like my favorite, is that increased prosecution that was on the news, I guess this morning or this afternoon, that the DA's office is hiring somebody to do these prosecutions of shoplifters. So what makes the difference between the law as it was last week and the law as it is this week, that they can do any additional prosecutions of people who steal less than $960?
Well, it really comes with vertical prosecution, and that model's been applied over time to any significant community concern. Really, what that does is give the DA a different mechanism to be able to review and deal with some of these cases. And so, like in the past, vertical prosecution have been successful for narcotic trafficking or, you know, gang issues. So the vertical prosecution just allows a mechanism where instead of going to the overall intake DA and having to deal with all of the limited resources that they have at their disposal, there's a specialist who knows how to get into the prosecution here and take it right from the vertical aspect of that is not only from the DA up to the jury trial, but also working with the detectives, working with the patrol officers so that.
That means vertical, meaning they've done it before and they're repeating?
No, the vertical is actually more like a silo, right? So it would be like the collaborative version of a specialty unit. So the vertical aspect is from the point of the report through to prosecution, there's a clean line of specialists who are
Okay.
just focused on this one issue, and that gives the vertical prosecution. The legislative aspect is still in the works. There is some positive movement on some of that, but this is, while we're in our current situation, how to make the best of our resources.
Will they go to jail or just get their knuckles slapped? What happens?
Well, it depends. I mean, that's the whole point of what we're trying to do here, just in the city in general, is try to increase consequences and make that happen. So the intent is that if people are going to continue to make a side job of stealing from us or stealing from our business owners, that we're going to take a strong stance to stop that. And the district attorney is on board and partnering with all of our allied agencies to try to make that happen as well. So the proof will be in the pudding, but we're definitely working on it. We're trying to get there.
Look forward to updates.
Did you have an addition?
No, I was gonna add, Chief, that, you know, one of the things that our vertical prosecutor at the county shared with us is, like Chief mentioned, it's sometimes on their side, it's difficult for them to bring all these different disparate cases together. When the crime is happening in multiple jurisdictions and on multiple days, but maybe even with the same, you know, method of theft, if they don't have somebody dedicated and focused on that to consolidate those cases, then it appears like these are just one-off cases coming in from different places. And certainly the name is your first clue that, you know, this person's a repeat offender. However, they have so much volume coming in at the district attorney's office that it wasn't always able to be focused on in like one consolidated method. So having this prosecutor that way is allowing them to say, okay, I know one of those happened in Folsom, one of those happened in Citrus Heights, let's say, and one of those happened in Elk Grove, and now we can bring all of that together, and instead of either filing or not filing on those individual cases, we can take a look at this as a bigger, you're obviously doing this as an organized effort, and so we can take a little stronger look at that case and potentially the consequences for that type of crime.
Are we working with Placer County too, so they jump across the
So
line?
There's actually an entire regional
Oh,
type
good.
task
Okay.
force and group on this. There has been for some time, but now, you know, we're starting to get traction with some of the resources and things, and so I think we'll start to see some good work in this space.
I'm sure the public is glad to know that.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, it's nice to see a focus on what we can do. That's, you know, enhance what we can do. And we've got to really be able to do something better for our retail partners and things like that, because the bottom line, that kills us too. So thank you very much. Looking forward to it all.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, sir.
All right, have a good night.
Next item, please.
The next item is city manager items.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Ash Vanier, City Manager. I do just have a couple of quick updates, but before I get into that, I just wanted to recognize former Mayor Schaefer for his time as mayor. From a staff perspective, I really was, you did an admirable job, and I actually think you made a lot of advancements in your passion of getting the neighborhoods to engage again. I think we're a lot further along than we were a year ago, so kudos to you in your role as mayor. And then I was just going to speak to a couple of brief updates here. Before I get into this, there's a road show that I'm doing, and both Mayor Daniels and Councilmember Schaefer spoke to when I was at SOAR on Monday night. I'm doing a road show kind of across all our neighborhood areas. So for all the neighborhood area groups, I'm going to be meeting with them over the next couple of months to help inform our strategic planning retreat that we're going to have between staff and the city council in March. So gathering feedback, sharing some things that we're doing, but also gathering feedback on what community priorities are. And so I'll definitely look forward to reporting out on that. So if you're in a neighborhood area and you're watching, and you'd like to talk to me or let me know what you think about what we're doing or things we might want to be focused on, please show up at those meetings. And then just briefly on this point-in-time count. This was on the news quite a bit yesterday. I know the council's very familiar with it, but for the benefit of the community, I thought I'd just speak to what it is. And so this was Sacramento Steps Forward, which is a local nonprofit that conducts every 2 years a counting of folks that are experiencing homelessness in the Sacramento County region. That count occurs on January 24th and then again on tonight, January 25th. It does help communities better understand homelessness and gather data. And it does inform regional funding, policy, and programs that aim to solve homelessness in the Sacramento region. Citrus Heights, we did open up our community room to Sacramento Steps Forward for the point-in-time count last night. There was about 22 volunteers there, and they deployed 6 groups out of that location. They held a number of interviews, and we don't have the numbers now, but we will share those out once they're final. And that concludes my updates.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Question. So with regard to opening up the community room, do unhoused folks go in and for interviews, or do they go seek the folks out for interviews as a voluntary thing? Are they out, you know, punching around the bushes, or what's the methodology?
That's a great question. When I say open up the community room, it was for the Sacramento Steps Forward volunteers. And so they actually deploy out of the community room. So it's like the headquarters, if you will, for the operation. And so that's where the volunteers came, they met, they were given some supplies, instructions on how to execute on the count. And then they actually go and deploy in the field. And they go to locations, they talk to our community outreach worker, our former navigator, about locations where they might want to go to look for folks that are experiencing homelessness in the community. And so that's when we had the community room here at City Hall. It was for Sacramento Steps Forward and the volunteers. And then from here, they went out into the field to make contact with people who are experiencing homelessness.
So in past counts, I think there was like a 30-day period where they were gathering data, and then the last one was like a 2-week time frame. Is that something different, a different kind of count, or is that what we're talking about?
I think that might be a different count. So this is Sacramento Steps Forward's count. Actually, our police department in April does their own count as well, using their own methodology. And so that's something that we do. In last year, it was over a 2-week period. We're going to be doing that again over a 2-week period. So we have some apples to apples comparative data. So we have the Sacramento Steps Forward in their efforts, and that's more of a regional effort. And then through our police department, we do our own focused effort, and that happens this spring. But that's that 2-week count that you're speaking to.
So when we do our own count, what number do they use as the official number?
The Sacramento Steps Forward number is the number that is used to kind of inform kind of the regional efforts and funding. Of course, if we have, if there was ever discrepancy in the number, of course, we would certainly let them know about that and inform them of that. But that's the count that they use for the regional efforts. Ours is certainly for our internal efforts.
And what's the turnaround time? When will we know what the Sacramento Steps Forward data shows?
I don't have that information right now, but as soon as I do, I'll make sure to share it out with the council.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
I used to be on that. In fact, I participated in the pit count one time, so the point in time, so they figure that all the homeless people are somewhere. And so if you are counting them over a 2-night period, they're likely not here on one night and here on another night, so they'll not be counted twice. So then they submit those numbers for federal funding, and then they compare them annually, year to year to year to year, and you get it back fairly soon, probably within a month. As long as all the satellites have gotten their numbers in, they verify them. There might be some pockets where they might, have some issues. So they kind of try to get as best they can.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank all the community members that showed up for that last night.
Yeah, there was a lot. Would we have 20, you said 22? That was good.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is items requested by council members or future agenda items.
Anything? Nope. Anything? Nope. Next item, please.
And there are no further items.
We are adjourned. Oh, we're not adjourned. No, we're not doing that. We're adjourned. We ain't going there.
We're only going to adjourn partially.
Yeah, I did the pit count one year. Yeah? But I was the guy who sat in the room and took the data in from the people who came back from their counts, and then assembled it all. I was on the homeless board. No, it was terrible because we had so many